That ass like Michael Obama. Yeah, I got that big D energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama.
No, Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay.
I really had that big like a llama. I whip that thing out like Michael Obama.
We already had it with
I got
Obama.
that big
So
energy.
let's just calm down.
Nobody wanna step to me.
No.
And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whip that ass like Michael Obama. I'm a girl, 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 I'm a whip the thing out like Michael Obama. I got that big energy. Ain't nobody wanna step like me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. Ain't got that clip, bitch. Hung like a llama. I whip that dick out like Michael Obama.
The deep they lurk, like twisted water dogs. In shadows they smirk, down in the rivers, out in the seas. Masters of the deep, dolphin mysteries. Bottlenose freaks, short beaks in the night. Humpback shadows, pygmies out of sight. All the dolphins, you know it's true. Rolling deep in the ocean blue. Stripes and spots, they rule the tide. Water dogs of the deep, they don't hide. In the river's grip, seas endless bounty. Ruling the waves, Dolphin Illuminati. Praised by Romans, gods to the Greeks. Underwater rulers, the power peaks. In ocean depths, their counts to 6. Dolphins in the dark, never calling it quits. Striped and spotted in the sea's domain. Aquatic dogs in their own insane lane. Through rivers they ride, seas they roam. In the ocean depths, they make their home.
Well, I talk about insanity, which is what's going on in your mind, and outside, which is where you communicate with those outside. As you know, if you give too much of your insanity, they'll lock you up. I tried giving as much as I could. They locked me up. They published it, paid me.
Dolphin Illuminati. Deep, deep, deep in the deep they creep. It's that Dolphin Illuminati. In the rivers and the seas they be a constant mystery. It's that Dolphin Illuminati. It's that Dolphin Illuminati. Deep, deep, deep in the deep they creep. It's that Dolphin Illuminati. In the rivers and the seas they be a constant mystery. It's that Dolphin Illuminati. It's that Dolphin Illuminati.
Tom Hanks, plasma bag.
Tom Hanks, plasma bag.
Tom Hanks, plasma bag.
Tom Hanks, plasma bag.
Tom Hanks, plasma bag. Just one loose and a hanging shad. Such a sad, he calls him bad. But on the same time, writer can't be bad. Lost gloves, missing shoes. Mazes and monsters. Dragnet, turning food. explore the view of possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, mega mistakes, entertaining, calling linguists. Good guys. Forum of decorum needs a secretive society to advance on philosophies intentionally, magically. Good guys, good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, mischief making. It's okay to change your thinking. Good guys. Good guys, good guys.
Big up yourselves Sunday evening, or whenever you happen to catch this, make sure you hit the like and subscribe because you are officially hanging out with the good guys. How are you good
Hello,
guys?
Sunday fun day. Hey.
Sunday fun day.
Not really. I just chilled all day, but it was fun just to just chill.
You're like, nah, not really though. It wasn't that fun.
It wasn't fun. I mean, it was fun, but like it was just like chill fun.
Did you go to the beach today?
No,
But you
no.
have beached a little bit this week.
Once this week. Yeah.
Good.
I don't like to go every day because then it becomes like non-special. You know, like another day at the beach, another day at the beach. Like I like to go like once in a while.
Then
you
life's
know?
the beach.
But which is fine. Life could be a beach, but you know, too much of it, oh my god. And then your skin gets leathery and you don't want that. It doesn't look
It's not
nice.
cute.
No.
A Florida gator is only cute as a actual real lizard. Abby, is your sound on?
Yeah, apparently I've been
Big up,
muting.
big up, big up. Brah. Hello Level Plane Productions. The big ups twice sent me
Big up.
immediately into patois. I felt like I was like, brah, brah.
Brah, brah.
I know.
You can roll your R's really well.
Only if I'm speaking and mimicking something. Like a little mockingbird. If you ask me to roll my R's, I can't do it. I can sometimes sing if I'm mimicking somebody who can sing.
Yeah.
But I can't sing. It is so wild. So anything I've ever done with like a microphone or on stage, I have to hear someone, even like I learn all my lines, but I have to hear somebody sing it. And then I can mimic singing it. But otherwise I can't find my own original voice. And so it always felt like a LARP, even to being in a band. I was
feel
mocking
that.
what I thought things should sound like in a rock sense or a punk sense. So like
Yeah, I
my
feel
punk
that.
singing voice was kind of like, you know how when you do your that
Cause
one
tonight will be the night. When
that was
I
kind
fall
of my
for
punk
you.
singing voice was everything like this. It was like a, you know, like you're singing in the back of your nasal cavity because that's how I thought punk girls should sound. So.
Oh God.
Like Cindy Lauper.
I know. I don't even know who it was. It actually, if I'm going to be real, there's a band called The Kills, and that people may or may not know. They have a couple of really great songs, and the weird Hollywood connection of it all. The singer of The Kills married Kate Moss, the guy singer. The girl singer of The Kills used to be in this little punk band called Discount. Discount is from my hometown, and so we would all just grow up singing songs and playing music together. So she has a whole different singing voice now, but back when her singing voice used to be like this, and so I mock this singing voice of this high school girl I knew named Allison Mosshart, but she actually became semi-famous.
Really?
So yeah, that's a deep cut. That's an Easter egg. Somebody could be like, what famous person did Chaney go to high school with?
I don't know if I went with anyone famous in school.
Mine was motocross.
Still to this day. Yeah.
They went to school with you, Layla. They went to school with you.
Oh, they went to school with me. That's right.
You're the
I'm
one,
somebody,
Layla.
okay? Oh, man.
What did you say, Abby?
Said my famous person, semi-famous person was famous for motocross, like the X Games. He created the Dead Man. So
what's that?
Drake McElroy. It's a trick on a freaking dirt bike when they freaking jump and go all the way forward, and they're just like laying there like they're dead. And then
Do they flip over the handlebars or do they just lay back
he
in the seat?
never did the flipping shit, but he had enough
I mean,
concussions.
do they
That way,
pick their body
yeah,
up over the
whole
handlebars
body
and
up
then
over
lay
it. Yep.
dead?
hmm
Okay, I know exactly the move. You know, I
That
don't
was
know
his
shit
move. He
about
created it.
motocross, but when I see anyone do that, I'm like, damn, that's badass.
That was Drake
Mhm.
McElroy. Yep. He grew up with me.
Uh,
He was a year younger than me. I played strip poker with him once.
Oh wow.
Did you win or lose?
Oh, I didn't lose. I know how to cheat.
Yeah.
I can bluff
Well,
on poker.
I always feel like, is there losing in strip poker?
I've never played strip poker.
If you're the one butt ass naked and nobody else is, then yeah, I think you lost.
I feel like if you're the one butt ass naked and no one wants you naked.
Yeah.
Mm.
But that's so rare, right? Like if we're
Yeah.
playing strip poker, we're already sizing each other up with our clothes on. Like, all right, let's do this.
How many layers of clothing do you have on?
A
Like,
one, a two. In strip poker, I'm like that little owl from the Tootsie Roll commercial. 1, 2,
a two,
crack.
a three, a three.
Oh shit. Have you guys
I love
thought?
playing poker though. Sorry.
I do too.
Yeah, love that game.
This is something that I always think is interesting that we kind of veer off to on the Secret Society of Good Guys on Friday nights with Thomas, is how magic these games of quote unquote chance, everything in a casino used to be. And so Abby even talks about the cards of the Medici, and that would be kind of akin to, if you don't know anything about it, it would be kind of akin to a solitaire. But then you think of like poker or 21 or roulette or craps or all these other games at the casino that you're like, what could this have been about? If the Medici was Medici, what are all the weight of all these other things?
Wouldn't you almost think roulette was like yes or no? Just
Almost,
like a
yeah,
almost
a
like
part of
a
it.
freaking pendulum.
But I also think it just seems like yes or no. But if you knew the magic of roulette
Yeah, there's more
precisely,
nuance.
then
Yeah.
you're also playing in regions of the world, or you're playing in certain sectors of your town, maybe, because all the numbers and how it's broken up, because the yes or no would just be black or white. That's the 50-50 of it all.
Right.
But think of all the other questions you could ask if you knew your board well enough.
Because in the way of the Patience of the Medici, where you follow each suit is a different flow, right? It's a flow of energy. So there's money, emotion, like spades are what's it called? Like power, and then just your everyday things. Those are all the 4 different flows. But you can create as many flows as you want, but you can do the same thing without cards. Like if you want to do money, you find the institutions in your town that are all money related, like the banks or the big money industries in your town, and you try to draw on the map like either a diamond or a triangle, and then if you walk that path, you'll do the same thing. So it's almost like, so I could see that with numbers too, like where it's mapping. It's like creating the chain of events to make the thing happen.
I totally see what you're talking. That sounded, if I didn't see the Medici done so much now and know kind of the lingo of it, but to me it made total sense that even in the break of it all, what if you used where the number was going to land as what was your break in stream?
Yeah.
Instead of, you know how like if you're doing your flow, your Patience of the Medici or your solitaire in order, and you keep coming with the same shit. I almost ran through that, but this card's in my way. That could be what this is showing you an opposite. But see how the yes or no could easily either be even or odd or red or black. But look at how many more questions you could ask. Like yes or
And that
no
could
is just
literally
such a
be-
simple part.
And you could even take that to the red cards and the black cards. Like, so the spades and the clubs, or you could, I mean, there are so many ways to transfer this. Yeah.
Well, the whole deck is a representation of a whole year, correct? As the 4 seats, the 4 seasons, each amount of suit has a amount of cards for each suit, and that represents like a whole cycle for each season. And
Well, yeah, 'cause there's 13 of each suit. There's what? So there's 52 cards, there's 52 weeks. There's
Yeah,
it's got to have correspondences with time as well.
absolutely. I feel.
So yeah, if you're in the patience of the Medici, if it's showing you all of these other things that could come to pass, if you also knew the language of your cards, right? Like let's say, like part of it means money or part of it means family or part of it means love. But if you're maybe getting, a 9 of hearts, it could also be, oof, that's going to be like your in your summer months, you're in your love factor, you're in your like they might have been able to really hone in on exactly what time of year each of these things were happening as well. Like
Oh,
Layla's
what?
saying, if it's 52 weeks and then also the seasons, you're almost breaking up your year by day that you would have been able to tell the direct day that was in your way.
Dude, oh, okay. I just thought of another thing. So if you take the Patience of the Medici and you fold it and you get your chain where you would do like an immediate manifestation where it happens that day, right? What if you did it like for a long-term goal where you did each card and you expected it to come up? You with the same intention, you would just tell it to come up every week,
Mm,
like a 1 year goal.
yeah.
I wonder if you could even practice with certain intentions and then you would do something like the Medici or Solitaire a few times to see if you could get your I wonder if you could practice your intention instead of because it's all about your intention, and the Medici
Yeah,
teaches you can
always.
only do this one time without intention to show someone. But it doesn't say anywhere you have to do it this way. It just
Yeah,
says you can
no.
only do it one time without the intention. So
Yeah.
if you were to say, I want this deck to work for me in a way that I want to hone my magic. And so this is where you would get the hoodwinking of magicians over the Medici, over the actual mages, is because a mage that honed her magic could probably get so good at pulling an exact card because she knew what was in the way. She lived an
Yeah.
intentional life, so she knew what was going to be pulled or what was going to always come up because she knew exactly what was in her way. So you see that magician trick of like the Houdini, and you're pulling a card out of your sleeve. That card isn't supposed to be there. But now think if I were going to put magic in your deck and all of a sudden my whole goal is just to get a 9 of fucking clubs in your deck while you're doing your shit. And now you have 2 9 of clubs in your deck. Think of how it could fuck up your entire magic. Think of the
Yeah.
difference of what we know about gambling to be and what this could actually be.
Yeah, shit. Adding extra decks and extra cards. Holy cow. That's
And the energy that you play with it matters
yeah.
a lot. I notice like when I'm in a playful, like, whatever, dancing with the machines or whatever, just having a pure good old time and not caring if I win, I win. But when I go with the intention that, oh, I'm going to leave a winner out of here, it usually doesn't turn out that way. When I don't care if I leave a winner or a loser, that's when I tend to win. It's
Abby, this is so crazy, Layla, because you were like kind of out of commission this week. And so, we were worried about you and we were sending you
yeah.
good energy. And then
Yeah, I
we were
love you guys.
chatting. The times we were chatting this week without you, this weirdly became the conversation that
Yeah.
always came up. And we didn't
Really?
plan this at all. This just weirdly came up. And this thing you said right now, I feel like
Uh,
Abby told me something really good about it then. So I might have interrupted her to tell you this whole part that she was going to say anyway right then.
uh,
But you
Oh
told me
no.
this thing about when you are somebody who they were due, it's owes it to me, I'm gonna win today, you're never gonna win. Whereas if you're a person that never needs the money or it's just like rolls off your back, but you said something, there's a thing about this. Like maybe it's a pendulum or maybe it's like you're doing your reverse magnetism to yourself or something. But you said
Yeah.
something and now I put you on the
It's
spot and you're like, I
probably
don't know what
more
the fuck
like
you're talking about.
no, I know
no.
exactly what you're talking about. I don't remember how I worded it, but it's like balancing forces. So we know that nature always balances. So if you create any excess potential, like I'm so excited, like I'm going to go where the weather is great or whatever, it's going to be shit and rain the whole fucking time. Like it always happens because nature has to balance that excess potential. It's not trying to fuck you in any way. It's just like you created it. So it's got to freaking restore the balance. So same thing with gambling. Like, oh, I'm due, I'm owed. Like I'm like, if you go in there like that, never gonna win.
You've
'cause
almost already walked around a little bit like a winner. So the way that nature or like the balancing forces, not nature, whatever it is,
Yeah.
has to do it. You've already walked around like I'm owed. I'm gonna win. I'm going to Vegas. I'm taking home. You've already got that energy. You've already
Yeah.
gotten to carry the energy a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like
So-
instead of carrying the energy that like it's really because he says that you can win anytime. You can apply all the principles to win in the casino, but it's really hard because you can't let it be about money, because money's never like your heart and mind have to coordinate, and your heart never gets
it's
behind
so
money.
weird.
Everybody thinks it does, but it's not money. Money has nothing to do with anything with
Money
your heart.
can never touch your heart. Yeah, you're so right.
It can't.
I'm telling you,
So it
it's
has to be the
it's true.
experience.
Yeah, like I feel the feeling of like when that day, like when I was really winning, it was like me, the process of having fun with the machine.
Yeah.
And like not caring if I win, but I was just like dancing with the beat and just like literally being silly. Like no, and it wasn't even my intention to even think that way. And I even think that like when you put like your thought like, oh, I don't want to put an energy to winning or losing but that's even putting an energy. So when you're just going with it and just like having fun and not really caring about the outcome of anything and just being present and just having your moment with whatever the thing is, that's where the magic is. And that's where it rewards you. It's so weird. It's so weird. I feel it like now
think
speaking
so.
about it. Yeah.
And it's like musy people, I will say, like people I watch in a casino that typically win. And I watch
Mhm.
people, like I'm such an observer. They love everyone around them winning. They love it
Yeah.
to the core. They don't feel like they're in competition with it. They feel like they're like excited. They're proud that somebody is pulling energy toward themselves of winning, and they're so happy for them. The people that are like sitting there like little crustaceans in competition with everyone around them,
And hunting
they
machines.
yes, you just watch these people and I'm like, oh, they're inevitably always losers.
Yeah.
Like it's just a loser's mentality.
Yeah. It's
There's so much
true.
losers mentality in a casino, man. There's so much of it.
Yeah, like people are like looking around, looking, like I
Like they
just
just sit
whatever.
there
It's
waiting
just
for you to
sit
get
at
up
a
because
machine.
they know you just lost $100 and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that machine. It's gonna hit.
It's
It's
like
gonna hit. I'm
just
like,
be
who knows?
random. Sit at a random spot. Don't be like oh, this is gonna be my winning machine. No, you don't know. Just sit wherever it's just
This
like
is another thing that I've
happens.
noticed.
Uh-huh.
Ladies that are like winning at a machine, they'll get up from the machine while it's winning still, and they'll tell somebody that gets behind them, they'll say, "This machine's hot." Like they feel like they took their piece, whereas guys will only get up from the machine when they're like, "This bitch is so cold now, gross," and they're like, they almost look back to the machine every so often, like nobody else better sit at that cold bitch. Like I don't want her, but nobody else ever better take her.
Yeah.
It's such a funny thing, and not all women and all men. I've seen crabs on both sides, but I just think it's like an interesting thing with I usually notice women can play cards. They don't have the attention span for cards like men have. Like blanketly, like they're good in a few hands. They understand the rules of it, but to stay there for long hauls, they don't have the steadfastness to make it to the final. Like they're just like, I'm kind of bored. Like they
I
get
like
bored
it.
somewhere. They get a
Like
FOMO
blackjack.
about
Blackjack is so fun if you're sitting at a table where people know how to play blackjack and it's a full table and you're sitting in the right spot too. And like, because I played at a table and made a killing just because we all freaking knew how to bust the banker,
Mhm.
the dealer. And it was just like, I don't know. It so depends on who's sitting at the table sometimes.
Yeah.
But Jay Dreamer said, yeah, some people will say I'm willing to lose $100 or something. And then if you say I'm willing to lose $100, you're probably going to lose.
Yeah.
Because you're going with loser mentality.
Hmm.
currency comes to me. That's
Spanish
Yeah.
21 is another game I like. It's like blackjack, but like you get an extra chance to like win. If you bet on the side there, I forgot what it's called. It's been years since I played that, like over 7, 8 years. That was a really good one in Atlantic City, I think.
Don't you think the number
Mohegan
7
Sun.
carries
7.
so much weight in the casino? Maybe the most amount of weight in the casino.
It does.
7
It
and
does.
11.
7 and 11 would be second. Yeah, and
Mhm.
because like
But on the slots, you only see 7s. You don't see the 11s. It's
No,
always
you
7s.
don't.
But even in craps, 7s is heavy.
7 and 11.
Once
yeah.
you gets to 21, but 7s is available in 21. It's the third of the 21. But the 11 is the heavy in the 21.
But in
Well,
poker, the
7
worst
has the
hand is
word.
the 7 and a 2, right? Like 7 and a deuce is like the worst hand in poker.
And 7 also has the word even in it.
Like it's a balancing force. It's an
Probably.
S even, 5
Mhm.
even. It's the same symbol. It's either
Mhm.
the S or the 5. And then you're saying even after it.
Yeah. Interesting.
It is interesting.
Even.
And then if you get the 777 in the casino, you like on the slot machine, you're getting the 21. So they really want you to get that 21 number. That's a winner. If you're 21 in the casino, you're usually doing okay.
Hmm.
But
And
I
you have to
don't-
be 21 to gamble, no?
I think you only have to be 18,
18, yeah.
but I guess maybe it's to where you're at.
Yeah,
Probably it
it's
is 18.
21 in Nevada. It's because they do like serve alcohol. Like you get free alcohol if you sit. But
Yeah.
Indian casinos around here, depending, most of them are 18. Unless it's like Hard Rock. I think Hard Rock's like 21. There's certain casinos aren't 18.
Okay.
Okay, in the musy mage of it all, and we're talking about all these games, like
21.
you know, even Medici and 21 and all these, they could be fortune telling games or somehow even 5D chess type games that we don't understand. Isn't it curious that you can only have a casino on an Indian reservation?
That is weird. I always wondered that. Why?
Like, what about
Unless-
if it's more energy than we understand? What if it has more to do with energy than law? But law is energy, but it's this acceptance, it's this agreed upon energy as a law.
What's weird is
Huh.
Maria 777. She posted like the whole like government owned land, federally owned land or whatever, and Nevada is like the whole entire state, which I figured because everywhere is BLM land, so you can go drive anywhere and it's fine. Shoot your guns anywhere, it's fine. Like
This
here
is
you
the
can't.
number
Like,
one reason that they Black Lives Mattered us. Is what you just said right now is the
Yeah.
number one reason that they Black Lives Mattered us is so nobody knew what the BLM really was. And it's the
Yeah, the
Bureau of Land Management. And you cannot, if we lived in this place that our Constitution was real, if we lived in this reality, then the Bureau of Land Management is the really one of the only organizations that they're there to make sure that the land is the American people's land. And it's whoever's land that is said to be their land. It is so important. And that's why they wanted no one to know what this was and for Black Lives Matter to carry the BLM. Anyway, sorry, go on. You were
I
saying
know,
Wow.
true. I'm just saying that it's all federally owned land, so kind of along the lines of the Indian reservation, like it's legal everywhere there. Like every gas station, every grocery store, anywhere can be. Every bar is a casino, essentially.
that's
Yeah,
wild.
in Nevada.
I just remember
yeah.
old ladies smoking their cigarettes in the grocery store and freaking hitting the slot machines. Like, so fucking
That's
weird.
crazy. Yeah. That's nuts.
Is there some responsibility of these casinos to do better jobs of taking care of the people on the reservations than they're doing?
I don't think so. I mean, I feel like
If
like
that's your
in these-
land's only commodity and your land's only commodity is only growing through the hands of 1 to 3 people, but the people in your land are blaming everybody outside, it would be like the exact same way as like if everybody in Florida was required to make our living selling oranges and then we let one man sell the oranges, but the man wasn't required to give anything back to us. Like, aren't we kind of somewhere letting the people that own the casinos off the hook somewhere? Are they giving enough back to the Indians of the reservation? Are
Well,
they doing anything? I'm just thinking
they
about the
mostly
gambling
only
in Florida goes
hire-
to education, but what's it giving back to the res?
Well, they like the Cherokee Nation, like Oklahoma is all pretty much now because that one precedent where the freaking pedophile killed a 4-year-old and then claimed that he was on federal land. So they just did this whole like case a few years ago where essentially he became almost a hero, even though he's a fucking sick fuck. And they've redeemed Oklahoma as all tribal land now. So, um, which is kind of weird. If you own property in Oklahoma, it's like, how does that work? But but Cherokee Nation is freaking awesome. I know that as far as their casinos and stuff go, they primarily only hire Cherokee. So not just Cherokee, any Native American. So Native American blood always has hiring preference. But so, and it is really, I'm gonna
But
say
what
it's
about
wealthy
not just
too.
hiring there? That's company
Yeah,
store shit. That's where it's like,
I know
yeah,
exactly.
I'll pay you money and then your money can only be spent here. But
They're
what
not doing
about
anything for them.
education? What
Nothing.
about education? Just educating them to like just come back and either make the res better or go out and make themselves better. But it just seems like somewhere there's like I've never even asked this question aloud before. It just came up now where I was like, huh, who are these native men sitting at the top of these casino boards and how much money are they worth and are they doing anything? And so maybe the Cherokee Nation is, but how many other nations are there?
I don't know.
You know what I
I
mean?
know.
There's so
Yeah,
many.
I
And
know.
so we
Here, the
just hear
Cherokee
about
are
driving
freaking great
across
about it.
Resland or anyone that's lived on Resland. It is the worst. So
Like
it's like, but does
Cherokee
it
Nation
have
just
to be?
they give every kid. So every kid gets school clothes allowance. They give them like obviously commodities and stuff like that. But then even the white kids in Oklahoma this year got like a food stamp card, even if your kids weren't on food stamps for the summer, because the federal government didn't like make sure that these kids are fed for the summer. So Cherokee Nation stepped up and did that. So as far as like if I was Native American, I'd want to live in Oklahoma. I would say that. They take care of all Native Americans
But
and even
okay,
the
they
white
take I
people.
was gonna ask. I was gonna say, is
Yeah,
it all
not
Native
just
Americans? Like once you
yeah.
have your,
If you have a CDIB card, then yeah, you're.
okay. That's pretty dope then, because
It
they're one
is,
of the bigger nations that they are like headway of it a little like, hey, you
and
guys
they're
get your
total,
shit together. This is how to do it.
but they're totally the joke of every other Native American population. So everybody's like, oh, Cherokee.
Because
But
they're
it's
like the
because
pop culture.
yeah,
They're
but it's because
the Kelly
you'll see
Clarkson of natives.
red-haired, blue-eyed people who are, like a quarter Cherokee. You would never know. They have a CDIB card. They're totally registered Native American, but so you can't like that's again like where you can't look at somebody and like just assume they're white.
Well, a lot of raping and pillaging happened. That is
Yeah.
Yeah.
where it's people, it's like the idea, it's so weird in different cultures how we're like, oh, you're polluted in this way, or you're lesser than me in this way. And maybe that's why in certain cultures the womb matters so much because like they can't, it's like, nope, even if you're raped, they can't rape it out of you. That's your bloodline.
Mm, that's true. You have it always.
Mhm.
Doesn't go anywhere. Doesn't hide. Doesn't mutate.
And
Well,
maybe
now
that's
we could
why it
probably
was so
say
important. Yeah. Maybe that's why the
we could
bloodline
probably
was so
say that
important.
now. Yeah.
We're in so much trouble. If you are
I have
finding
to
us
tinkle.
on
Be right back.
hi, do you? Okay. If you are finding us anywhere right now, we could be streaming on Instagram and Rumble. We are streaming probably on two channels on YouTube and I think on X as well. Make sure you like, subscribe, and if you want to hang out in the chat, I think everyone goes to the Project Chaney if they chat, but I could be wrong about that because I get everybody's. But thank you guys for showing up. We are in trouble right now on the YouTube because I just am never going to stop. I know it's just a short amount of time, but I just am like, fuck the medical industry. So I don't know what words in the medical industry we are and aren't allowed to say, but
Did we get in
they
trouble for
remind
Friday's
me.
episode?
No, we only
Oh,
for not yet.
okay.
I
Like,
think
because
that
we
us,
did go on a medical tirade a little bit,
I know, but I
the
think us
mustaches might
being
help.
yeah, it is a theory that I'm like, if we dress up, like maybe the computer doesn't take us as seriously, and they're like, oh, South Park's allowed to say whatever they want. We move on.
Yeah.
I want Layla to get back for another philosophy question that I had for you guys, and but I could start it now, and then we'll fill her in when she gets back. So, somewhere around the 80s to the 90s, it became fashionable for women to shave themselves completely bald everywhere. Like this became
Mhm.
like a very normal thing. And then somewhere around like the 2000s, it became normal for men to shave themselves bald everywhere. And now I would ask, is that grooming culture for us to get comfortable with adolescent genitalia?
Wait, what are we talking about?
Women
Shaving.
grooming and men grooming all the way naked. Do you
Oh,
think it's a groom?
maybe,
Like a groom and a groom.
but low key,
Do you think,
like,
okay, here would be the philosophy question, the way I'd put it. Shaving your genitalia. Are we being groomed or are you just grooming?
I don't
that's a very
look.
good way to look
I
at it.
was
But
pretty traumatized by my mom's bush. I'm not gonna lie. So I don't really have a problem with you
What did she do? Why were you traumatized by it? And what was the scenario of traumatization?
because she was a hippie. She's the one who didn't shave. So she's like waving to the neighborhood with her hairy ass armpits, and then we'd go to the pool or something or to the lake. We went to the lake all the time, and she'd be wearing her swimsuit, and her freaking bush would be hanging out, and it was just like,
yeah, yeah.
sorry.
Well, here's
I
the
don't
thing.
know.
This is what I think it does, like, for me as a female. When you're like fully shaven and like clean, you just feel um cleaner, and then you feel sexier. But that's just me, or maybe it's a fucking condition that was like programmed into my mind that I don't know about. But the way I feel, it makes me feel more provocative. It makes
Because,
me
and
feel
I think
more
provocative would be the perfect word. It was meant to make you feel more provocative because that's really the only thing porn showed our generation.
mm,
Like, how
But
you're
do you
like,
remember 80s bush porn? Oh my
but
god.
no, I'm not a porn
Traumatizing. Oh
person.
my
I'm
god.
not a porn person. I
I
don't have
wasn't
all
either,
these
but I just
references to
happened to
this.
be I happened to see like my friend's dad had all his Playboys in the freaking bathroom and stuff. And I was like,
and there it was.
But I
yeah,
will say this. Do you think like you could be trim without having to be bald? Because
yeah,
don't you
oh for
think there
sure.
is something very adolescent about being fully naked that an adult only has hair? An adult only has hair and an
Yeah.
adolescent is only bald. And so over thousands of years for us to see that and think it's sexy, it seems
I
like
don't
it's
think it needs
something because in
bald.
the 80s
Yeah.
and 90s even a man's chest was like, hairy. And then
Mhm.
somewhere a man on somewhere now a model is like a wafy boy girl where you're like, is that Justin Bieber or a lesbian?
Yeah.
Like it's something's happened where I'm like, is this all a slow thing where the you know grooming to excess maybe, or like,
Yeah, I
oh,
think
we
it's
can make a
excessive.
younger because it was a type of porn to have adolescent porn, but it didn't look like an adolescent unless it was fully shaven.
Mm.
I don't know, it was
When you put
just
it that
something I was
way,
thinking
yeah.
about.
But I also do feel cleaner, like just having it all off,
Do you feel
like
cleaner if you shave your head?
that's just, you see?
I like having my head shaved.
I
I'm not
know.
doing it again, but I did like it.
Yeah, I don't know, just lighter, fresher, like, just cleaner, smells
Are
better.
your eyelashes there for a reason?
I know all
Keep
that.
bugs out, yeah.
Uh,
I know. It's like all of these things went through my head today. And it's like, whoa, what are we up to?
But this is
Like,
what's
but
weird too.
imagine all of us
Those are the
walking around
areas
hairy as fuck.
those are all the areas on a baby that have brown fat deposits. Like, and as you grow up and you know go through puberty, you lose your brown fat deposits, and that's where your hair grows. So it's kind of, I'm sure that has something to do with it, because I think brown fat is what keeps you like insulated and warm. So if you were in a really cold environment, then you can call on your brown fat stores to keep you warm. But since you're an adult, you don't have that, and you got to put, okay, so if you know how testicles work, they shrink up because they have to keep the they have to keep the sperm and the fluid at a certain
Teacher
temperature or the
Abby
sperm
came out
die.
and she just got
Yeah.
mad at me and
So
Layla, and we were paying attention.
so the balls have to shrink up to keep them warmer, closer to the body, and when it's hot, they get too hot, so that's why they sag, because it's also to keep it the right temperature. So that's,
Ah.
I'm sure hair has something to do with keeping it all protected too.
Oh,
For
probably regulating temperature big time.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
we always think, like, vets will tell you this too, or different people with your dog. Just because your dog has a ton of hair, you're like, oh, let me get all this hair off my dog. And they're like, no, their undercoat keeps them cool in the summer.
yeah.
Please don't shave your dog bald. And
Yeah.
so it's just like, maybe
Well, like
don't
imagine we
shave your
didn't
dog
though.
bald just seemed like the trashiest thing. Like, I'd be sitting on a trailer like, hey girl, come here. You got an old bald dog?
Yeah, but
Just
like
seemed
Got a
the
bald kid.
if we
yeah.
like
Call that
went with
what?
that mentality though of not like shaving and keeping our hair where it's supposed to be, women walking around with mustaches and beards and stuff. Like I don't know. Like and hairy ass fucking legs and going to the beach and not
That's what else I
shaving.
was gonna ask you. And my
It's
other thing,
just
it's like I'm not turned on necessarily by a naked pussy. Like I'm just not turned on by it. It's like, but I also, if I saw some like 70s bush, I would not be turned on by that. Like even I just saw it in my head right then. And did you see the reaction?
Yeah,
Wasn't
it's
turned
like
on. It was like, oh.
scary.
But the biggest thing for me is less visual in that case, and it's going to be with my other senses regardless. And so, like if everything's kosher. Like, but I do think I forgot what else I was going to say. Right when I said the 70s bush thing, I really lost my train of thought and then tried to get back
It's
on it.
disturbing, is it not?
Because I just thought of a
Imagine
merkin.
my childhood, poor little Abby.
Like a merkin. Poor little Abby, just like
Mom, put that thing away.
like it right here.
ugh. But you see what I
Rest your
mean? Okay,
soul.
like maybe in like a nice well
Oh yeah,
kept
that's what I was gonna
vagina.
say. So I'm not turned on by a shaved pussy, but I do love a shaved pair of legs. Like I love a shaved pair of legs, even so much so I love a shaved pair of legs that have a little bit of stubble on them, like just a little bit, like where a girl's like, "Oh my god, I didn't shave today." Like I don't know why I like when, but I think that whole thing's cute, and I do prefer shaved armpits on a woman.
Yeah.
This is
Oh
just
God,
my
yeah.
visual. Like, so it's not, there are some things that I feel totally brainwashed by, but is that about adolescence too? But then I would also ask with the pussy and with the armpits, is this, we don't need the hair as much because we have the clothing protection?
And we have air conditioning and we have central heat. So I think all those factors
Yeah.
into it. But then, okay, so the best feeling in the world is like, do you guys see if you guys agree with this? When you change your sheets and you shave your legs, like going to bed that
I
first
love
night,
that.
And you're like this.
I
it's the
love
best
that.
feeling.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you just keep moving your legs. It feels so
I
good.
love that. Ugh,
It's like I just
it's the
shaved my
best feeling.
Just back and
sheets. There
forth,
goes.
just back. It is equivalent to the happiness of a kid walking into a hotel room that
Even in
has
the
two
shower.
beds, and you can jump
Yeah.
back and forth to two beds, back and forth, back and forth. That's my equivalent adult happiness of being a girl with
Me too.
shaved legs, getting into fresh, clean sheets that are
Yes.
tightly
Hold
made
tight.
bed.
Yes.
Or when you're in the shower and you just shave both your legs and then you kind of rub them together in the water and you feel how silky smooth they are. And it's just like, I love
You
Yeah.
that
feel like
feeling
you just
too.
made the dolphins all come out of the water, and you're like,
Uh-huh.
And I used to be a girl who I only used to shave my legs like twice a week. And then once I started bodybuilding, it was really because I was doing cardio. And I just did cardio at home, but for whatever reason, like either being on the treadmill or doing a bike, like I wanted my legs shaved. It just felt better. So
Yeah.
I shave
There's
them every day
something
now.
too, like when we were talking about going to the beach, getting a little sun. You feel away when you have a little sun. Then it's like you shave. You were saying you feel a little cleaner when you shave. There's like these layers of things that you're like, after I work out, after I go to the beach, after, it's like if you can put your shaved legs on top of those things, and then you're like, oh, that's a cherry. That isn't even the cherry. The cherry's the lotion I get to rub on my
I
shaved
know.
legs.
The whole ritual of shaving your legs is kind of great, I think. Other
Mhm.
than actually having to shave them, because that part's like,
I get
but
lazy sometimes and just, especially in the winter, like I'm not seeing anyone or dating anyone or going places or whatever, I kind of let it grow sometimes. I'm just like,
I used
whatever.
to, but
You'll cut it
Mm-hmm.
to
it's every
the
day.
pants that you're wearing. You're like, I'm
Yeah.
wearing capris today. I'm only gonna shave my calf down.
But then I would do like in prep, what I would do, like, because I would had prep brain so bad, I would get out of the shower and realize I shaved the same leg twice, and
Oh
I didn't
yeah.
shave the other one. I'm like, oh my god, I
I've
wore
had
2
that
different shoes to
happen.
work. Oh my god,
Oh, that's
Uh,
a nightmare. I don't want that. Or you're like, oh, if you miss one whole line on your leg, you're laying on the couch
it's
later
the
and you're
worst
like,
thing.
am I a psychotic? Like, and it looks like for some reason that you only missed that line for the last 3 times you shaved. You're like,
Yes,
yeah.
what the heck?
you're like,
I
sorry,
think
this
it's
is
probably like a
awful.
trauma, like memory thing. Like you probably cut yourself shaving there, and
Okay,
it's like
now
when you
let's
get
talk
to
about the
that spot.
conspiracy of it. We talked about the love of it and how great, blah, blah, blah. Do
Uh-huh.
you think it's great for humans to be taking and think about we used to have a razor back in the day that was made of real metal that we'd sharpen on leather or something, and that would be pretty much only used to
Straight
shave a
edge.
man's face when it needed to be shaved. And sometimes, I guess, if you were a next level lady, maybe you would have had your own straight razor and you would have shaved your legs or taken it to your armpits or something, but it would have been a next level piece of metal against your body. Now, all of us think of all the areas we're shaving, including our genitals, including our armpits. We're pretty much shaving everywhere that we have lymph nodes. So we're taking their weird metal with more and more blades. For some reason, it's up there like, take this 666 amount of blades up to your neck.
They work
And
great though. Damn.
yeah, I know. We're like, oh my gosh, have you tried the
How
new
did I ever
12
do it
blade?
with 5 blades before?
It's the thinnest blade you've ever seen in your life. Like, and I'm gonna be also really honest. You've had a clean shave. You've had a clean shave. 1,000 blades. You haven't got out of the shower sometime in the last 5 years of your life and thought, this is the best shave I've ever had. This shave is by far superior to every other shave I've ever. You never even thought any difference of it. You might have thought one stroke in the razor in the shower, like, oh, I like this gel strip. But now think, huh, so we're opening ourselves up with some weird metal we don't know about and then shoving some gel immediately on top of it that we don't know about too.
Well, the razor is cutting up into your skin too, and your skin is an organ and it absorbs so much. So you're cutting into that, and then the chemicals of the shaving cream or whatever shampoo or whatever the case is seeping into there. And then people are wondering why they get all kinds of skin cancers. It's not because of the sun. It's
No, the
what we
sun
put
brings it
into
to
our
the
skin.
surface. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I also think I also think it's bad. Like, I don't know if you guys notice, like after you shave your armpits and stuff, the deodorant gets on your
As
razor or
well,
whatever.
you
Yeah.
cut yourself and then you put these chemicals that pretty much every single person out there that's ever had an organic company or made organic products, they've made organic deodorant, and it's not a hard product to make. And the second they make it, they have to start tweaking it because things at certain levels and certain things that once, if you want the stink to happen and the not sweat and the things, a lot of people with sodium bicarbonate with just baking soda, they're allergic to it at a level. So once they cut themselves, it would be fine for everyone to use organic deodorant and they would never have an issue. What the issue is they're cutting themselves raw and then putting this on there, but because it's organic, it's showing you right away. So they'll get rash in their armpits and they're like, this organic deodorant's making me break out. No, it's healing your open wound. But the
Yeah.
other deodorant's not telling you have an open wound. It's just like puttying over it with chemicals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
Well,
And somebody just
we
put
fall
too,
for it.
like PK just wrote, like, I bet they will never link shaving to Alzheimer's. And then think of the Alzheimer's skyrocket and think of shaving in modern society. I bet there's an exact correlation.
Well, isn't it
I
connected
bet.
to your nervous system and like how hair is supposedly your body's I guess alarm? It makes you aware of like when you're not in a conscious state, like when you're sleeping. It makes you aware of your surroundings while you're sleeping. So sometimes you feel like a person's in the room and you wake up, or when they're nearby and they don't make a noise, but you still wake up because you feel their presence in your sleep. So it's that same
Your
connection
hair
because
moved
yeah.
electromagnetically.
Mm-hmm. So it has to do something with your nervous system.
Or even they tell you in Florida or anywhere for that matter, like if you are just in a field or somewhere by yourself and chilling, even if a storm's far off on the horizon and you feel your hair stand up, get the fuck out of that. You're going to be struck by lightning.
Yeah.
Like it's the dance is starting to
I
Leave.
love
happen
that
around
feeling in
you.
Oklahoma when their hair stands up. Like,
I know.
yeah, this is gonna get good. We had tornadoes last night.
Really?
The place where I go to the gym had one rip through. So I haven't been back because it's a rest day.
Yes.
Gordy said the only superior shave he's ever had is by an old man barber. And I'm going to tell you guys that I don't do it frequently because I understand a barber shop is a sacred space for men. So I try not to go in there frequently. But there is one barber shop that doesn't mind me in there, but I let them know very quickly in there that they can say whatever the fuck they want. Like I
Mhm.
say something crass, even if it's past my own level, just to let them know they can go back to their conversation. Whatever
Yeah,
they were
like
talking.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, because they were just chilling in there. I don't want them to think, oh, we got a broad in here. You
Uh-huh.
know, but because sometimes the only way you can get a proper fade, like I usually do my own hair, but every once in a while, if I'm changing styles, I'll go get the first style done by somebody who has 10,000 hours more than me. And Gordy's like the only superior shave I've ever had was by an old man. I love my barber shop because the chair that I sit in, they in a real barber shop, in lady salons, they turn the chair toward the mirror. So you watch yourself get your hair done the whole time. In a real barber shop, they turn the chair away from the mirror so you talk to everybody in the room. And while you're getting your hair done, you have a trust about what you just asked for, and now you just have a conversation. So where my chair is and they turn it is where the old men get their shaves with the hot towel. And I can fascinated, dude. I almost feel like I wish that was just a profession that I could just be an old man shaver and just sit there and sharpen it and chat with them and then like pick up their chin. And because
It's
even
called
like
being a barber. Go to barber school, Chaney.
I
You'd be
know I
great.
like doing hair too. I like cutting men's hair way more than women's. But well, sometimes with certain of the barber classes, you have to learn how to do nails and shit. Like it's all a beautician thing, and I don't want
Yeah.
to touch ladies' feet or nails in that way. And not that I'm anti ladies' feet or hands and all that. Ladies'
It's
feet
gross.
I want to touch, but some ladies' feet I don't want to touch them ever.
I wouldn't
No.
because feet gross
Ever.
me out.
They look like they've been they look like stone walking in
Fungi.
flour. Stone
Mhm.
walking in flour. I'm like, oh
Cracked heels and stuff. You're like, oof, no.
yeah. That's our poor grandmas. Like my
Yeah.
grandma, different to my mom. My mom will not be caught dead with my grandma's feet.
My mom's speech. That was another thing. Man, these hippie granola women. I'm telling you.
What did they do back in the day? Like, did they do pedicures and stuff like that and take care of their feet? Like, were they all
They
walking
rub
around
their
with
heels on
nasty,
rocks. They rub
nasty
their
fucking feet? Like, what the fuck?
There's
But if you walk
cheese
in the sand,
grated.
you don't even need to do any of that. Like if you walk on the
Nope.
beach all the time.
Exfoliates naturally.
That is true. And then you have nice. I have soft feet and soft hands.
Same, yeah.
I got rough
I
hands,
don't.
but I lift heavy weights and I don't wear gloves because gloves are for pussies. So if you're in the gym wearing gloves, you're a pussy. Just telling you.
I have
Oh,
super
really?
super soft hands.
Yes, let your hands freaking get the calluses. It's good.
I don't want to. I just like the I need my hands to be soft.
Yeah, that's why I
I'm
wear
proud of
gloves at
mine.
work.
I'm proud of
I'm like,
mine.
I don't want to touch anybody's DNA.
Well, it's
Fuck
like
out of
men don't
here.
really care as much if like hard hands are touching them like that. Like men don't care, but ladies don't
Well,
necessarily.
and they're not like I shave them down. Like if I'm in the shower, then I'll sit there and I'll freaking shave them down when they get all soft. But they're functional.
I
so-
wonder what a calloused hand does to a hand job.
That's
Is it
how I
like
give
in-
handies.
I've never had any
I
complaints.
energetically
I wonder.
I make my hands so calloused and angry that I even tell guys, like if I were ever in a situation, I'd be like, I mean, I can give you a calloused, angry handy right now, but you'd probably be better off by yourself.
Just curious
It'll
out
just
there.
be like mad. This is my face.
It's another level of texture, you know? A different sensation.
Is it ribbed?
Probably. It gives that feeling of like a ribbed, you know?
I didn't even
Ripped
think
part of
about
the
it.
hand.
I didn't even think about it. I'm gonna tell you, if I was a dude, I would never like a hand job would not ever be a necessity for me from a lady.
I was gonna say, who settles for just a hand job though?
I don't know. This is where I'm such a lady though. I would just be like sometimes like we should just make out.
I like that though. The simpleness
That's
of
why I'm
it.
such a lady. I'm like, we should just make out for an hour before you go back to work.
Nothing
Like,
more, nothing
yeah,
less.
and I kind of like it if there's the rule put on it. Like we're grown, we can go further, but what about if we don't until you get home?
And
That's
that's
foreplay.
called foreplay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Jinx.
Oops, I forgot that was up there about the superior shave with the old man.
We're totally talking about old man shaves right now.
Yeah. Anyways, that was my weird conspiracy question that I'm like, are we being groomed or is it? I wish I would have had a whole thing of sound drop and a thing across the screen. Are we just grooming or are we being groomed?
I think, yeah, we are. But I mean, do we really want to go back though? And like,
Nah.
just nah.
Because I think of like historical romances or even like Bridgerton, right? Like
I
if
love
you
it.
really wanted to go back in time like that, like the whole sex
I would hate
things,
it.
like, these people didn't shower. Let's be real. Like they bathed and stuff in the books and in the movies, but they weren't doing that shit.
All
Like
their
they
clothes
had a fucking
stunk.
hairy ass fucking bushes. They wore the same dress like a million times. Like gross.
Ladies love Bridgerton, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really good. I do like it too, but
Oh my gosh. It is like
so cute.
Bridgerton's taking over the world.
I love that. I love
like 'cause
Pride
they're
and
making it
Prejudice. I like
multicultural.
Sense and Sensibility. I
That is
love
so funny.
all of
I
them.
actually like my homegirl Mo and even my wife. And I always say to them, like, if I walk in a room and they were to be watching this, because I've had roommates with like a bunch of people in a house, and I've walked into a room and I'm like, if there's bonnets on the TV, I'm fucking out.
I love those movies. I love
If
them.
it's fucking like three men and they're, or wait, three Little Women, Three Men and Some Little Women, whatever those shows are called. Nope, I'm out. Like, but here's where I shift. I love period pieces if it's like Queen Elizabeth, Queen of Mary Scots, like this, fake history. I'm in.
I don't care about them. I
I'm
care about
in.
the love stories,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never even seen the postcard or the glass
I just
bottle,
finished
whatever these things.
The Cook of Castaneda. That it was pretty good. Actually, it's a
What did
series.
you guys watch with like Ryan Reynolds and he dies at war?
Oh, I don't know that
I don't
one.
know.
I don't know. I feel like there's these lady movies that all ladies have seen that I don't
The
see.
postcard. I bet she means The Notebook. You've never watched The Notebook?
Never, not once.
Oh my god, it's so good. You should watch it.
See, and you guys.
It is good.
See, like, I never watched any of these, and it's not because I'm not into love stories. They're just different than lady. This is where like certain parts of me, it's like I'll get touched watching Rudy. Or
Oh, I loved
Hoosiers.
Rudy. It was good. Yeah, yeah.
Like
I don't know, Rudy.
It's like
Oh,
a
so good.
sports thing.
Sean
Like,
Astin.
there's a love story,
Mhm.
but the love story between the team or the dream is like
The best, The
He's a
Count of
person
Monte
with a really good
Cristo.
heart.
That movie.
it's so crazy you say this, Layla, because this is my brother's
That
favorite
is my forever.
movie and my brother's favorite book.
Mine.
And he
as
told
well.
me this while we were hanging out last week, and I wanted to fall off a chair because if I had to pick, I
It's
felt
so
like I know
good.
everything about this guy. I would have never picked this thing.
It's
for
so
him.
good. It's so good. It's love. It's knowledge. It's revenge. It's being smart, but still be a gentleman and own your identity. Oh, it's just so good. It's just so good. I fucking love it. I love it. It's a masterpiece. Literally,
I
you
have to watch
have.
it again. I've seen the
Yeah.
old one, but it's been so
The
long.
old
it
one's
just
great
mixes-
too.
Yeah, it just mixes like when you're too young to see something, you
Yeah.
need your new eyes.
Yeah,
That's how I feel like
You
I
would
need to
love it.
watch it.
I think you should watch it. You would love it.
I used to like to watch like American movie classics and stuff. I'd go to my friend's house and her mom would always have it on like AMC or Turner Classic Movies, and we'd watch the old black and white romances and sit there and get stoned, and it was like the best Saturday ever. I loved doing that with her.
Mm.
I like the old romance films too. They're great.
Here's another
Yeah.
little weird thing. I can't watch anything if like an animal. I don't want to watch Benji. I don't want to watch Old Yeller. I don't want to watch The Hunted.
I
I don't
hate
want to
those.
watch The Journey Home. I don't want to watch like Water for Elephants. I don't want to watch if it's animals or there's somehow an animal plight or we're saving an animal. I don't want to watch a show about a
What
movie
about dinosaurs?
about a
Land Before
kid.
Time.
Like even that. I don't like cartoons about fake animals. I don't like anything attaching me to a fake voice with an animal. I don't
Mm.
like it. I don't like watching Planet Earth. I don't like that whatever the loosh is that happens watching an animal on screen. Not a fan. And I just won't watch those things. Like I steer clear from all those things. People will be like, "Oh my gosh, you'll love this." But and like, you know what I've never seen and I'm like, "Why would I ever watch it?" I already know. I don't even need to when people are like, "It's just about," I just want to plug my ears. Marley and Me.
Never
I'm
seen it.
not watching it ever about a dog's
I
life to
watched
death.
it and I didn't
What about Teddy?
really like it.
About that bear, Ted.
I
Ted,
feel like
whatever.
Eddie's
Teddy.
gonna come up on one of my Instagram Secret Society of Good Guy posts for whatever reason. Because I feel like I don't know. I forgot why, but it was in my head for some reason.
Man, dolls are fucking.
Fuck you, Thunder.
Dolls are witchy as fuck, man, and they've
I think so, too.
existed for a very long time. And they started as flowers and as tree parts and as grass and all types of elemental things, and just transformed into more of a closer and closer lifelike resemblance of a being. It's and
You are so right. They started out
Yeah.
as like a sage stick.
yeah. Yeah.
Like they would just put twine together and then arms came later, eyes
Yeah.
came later, and then to add to that, Frosty the fucking snowman. Snowman is magic. Making
Yeah.
snowman magic is magic.
Yeah.
Like if I were just going to do a spell and magic was real, I would make my enemies all out of snow in my front yard or in my castle yard. And then I would either shoot cannons at them or watch them melt. One of the two things. But I think something that's creepy.
Yeah.
Dolls. And
Dolls are weird.
That'd be really good for Injustice too, because like in a dream, Injustice, Solon always shows up as snow or ice.
And I
Like, if you had
finally
that
watched
Solon.
Barbie. I finally
okay,
watched
yeah.
it.
let's talk about it.
Okay.
What did
The
you
whole
think?
the whole idea of like these dolls and we give them like a life, and they have their own realm per se of existence because we created that thought of these dolls and gave them a personality or whatever. So they have this another alternate realm for them. That was like eye-opening for me to know that we can create existences of things for things, and they just are, because there is a realm of like, it's some kind of bruja magic, man.
It feels
What
a
is
little like, and the idea that we all have these Barbies and however long
toys.
these toys, these dolls are in existence. And there's enough things, even with none of us meeting anywhere on the world, blah, 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 blah. There's enough things that enough people do in the privacy of their own home for generations that they can put them as inside jokes in this movie, down to the tortured, like, cut up Barbie doll that literally looks like everybody's tortured cut up Barbie doll.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weird Barbie, like that hit home so freaking hard for me because it's like everybody had a version of that for real.
We
The
all
one that you cut
did.
its hair, yeah.
Yeah. Create a Cynthia doll.
Mine was literally a witch. I called her the witch. Like she was always the witch when I played.
That's crazy. Like mine would be a shaven one. Like her head would be shaven, weird clothes, like just off-putting, like total like weird, like
I
a
feel
weird
like mine was
character.
one of the
Yeah.
original Barbie dolls. Like mine was probably my mom's Barbie doll. So
Bruh.
it had like weird black eyeliner, and I sat there and like I rubbed the back of her head to where her hair literally fell out.
And the weird part about this Barbie is that it was the thing that made me laugh so much right now is because I felt like in a way I look like tortured Barbie. Like, you guys, if you're nice to your Barbies, they look like Layla or Abby. And if you're too mean to your Barbies, they have no idea what postcards
Stop.
are or the movie Glass Bottle that all the other girls are watching. But the weird part about this, I think, is that usually that is your favorite Barbie. Everybody loves that Barbie. They're like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you
You
love
always
it.
played with it.
You always play with it. You love it so much so you either took it in the bath or took it in the pool and you done fucked up its hair. And then your kidness didn't know that it wasn't real hair. It was never going to dry. It was never going to be the same. In a Melissa
Never
Etheridge
gonna go
song,
back.
to keep it all like, I will never be the same. And then that you had to cut the Barbie's hair off. So it was the first idea of the little kid being like, I'm going to fix this with scissors. I got it.
Yeah. And how the doll supposedly connected with the mom and knew what the mom was thinking and her deep thoughts when she was in that realm of like drawing and that artistic space. And that's where the doll connected with the mom in that realm of flow. It's just so fucking crazy. Like the weird shit
So
that I
much
picked up on
magic
this
in it,
fucking
huh?
movie. Yeah.
The
A
other thing
lot.
I have to tell you for real, the one thing I liked about this movie that I have to big up, which is so crazy because we all know it was the pink Barbie spell that was put on us with the Oppenheimer bomb and everything. But the one
Yeah.
thing I have to big up about this fucking movie is motherfucking girls were girls and boys were boys. Boys were blue and girls were pink, and there was no twain shall
Yeah.
meet. There wasn't a zim zam
Yeah.
shimmy
Zim
sham.
zay,
There
zimmy
wasn't
dang
anything
dang.
in between. There wasn't like, let's pretend, oh, that Barbie, we call her Corvette. And we all sit on her back occasionally and go for a ride. Nope, no one was playing any character in between.
I loved that.
I loved it too. And I felt like I was so grateful that there was some tiny little part of
Yeah.
whatever used to be that kids can see. And it was still okay for boys to be boys and for girls to be girls. And I did like that about this movie and that it was coming out now. And I didn't see any of the BS liberal backlash. I never saw
Which
it
is
brought
so
up at
weird.
this
Yeah,
movie.
you would have thought. But
Cancel. But no.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Maybe
what I
it was
liked
an
about
eye
it too.
opener for a lot of like kids too. Like to see that as a kid, like a young girl. Like, oh my God, this is what Barbie represented. Like, because Barbies now, like, they're not really handled as much as we used them back at our time, you know?
Well,
So
they've
for them to
ruined it
see,
by trying to do all the different body shapes and stuff, and I don't know. It's like I get it, but
well, also technology has pulled them away from toys and like they're automatically gluing their children to the screen instead of the toy, you
I don't
know?
know. Barbie is still really big, though. That's the thing is that
Yeah.
kids still really do play with Barbies. Like I just got rid of like probably a small fortune in Barbie dolls and all the houses and all the clothes and all the freaking things. But yeah,
I wish I had
they're still
Barbie
hot.
still.
They're still a hot commodity.
I
But the
feel like
problem
it's
is
kind
that
of
they're not
yeah.
they're not
I feel
standard
like it's
anymore.
okay. Everyone's like, we need to make this Barbie look like us. No. The thing about Barbie is she didn't
She
have
looked
to
like
be like
Barbie.
any of us. She was a
And
superhero. She
yeah,
was just a
and
superhero.
every
She could
outfit would
have
fit
it
every
all.
Barbie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, let's
Yeah.
be real. And this is the thing that I like if we all admit it to each other is the behind the scenes. It was hard as fuck to get Barbie dressed. You might have had to break her leg to get her in that outfit. And if as a
Mhm.
Yep.
woman you took that to heart a little bit, that when you're out there, the show must go on. But
Yep.
everybody doesn't see you laying on your bed trying to suck it in, getting them jeans on. And we all know Barbie needed that help too.
Yeah.
Yep.
She broke
Yeah.
more
Even though she
clothes
had
than
the
that
perfect
bitch
body,
could fit
you know?
into. She had a perfect
Yep.
fucking body. And here's another thing. To have that fucking perfect body, she could only date one man. There was only one man tall enough to date her because that Nephilim couldn't even fit in her
Yeah.
fucking car. She couldn't
Yeah.
stand in her own fucking houses. She was too big. And if she ever went on
Wow.
her RV, she just had to walk with her whole head sticking outside of the RV.
Yeah.
Like,
But I will say
she was
this.
in a film. She was probably 8 foot tall. That's the
My
real
Barbie
Barbie
had a
movie.
hotter Ken though, because I didn't have Ken. I had G.I. Joe, the like original G.I. Joe, and he was
Some old ass man.
I had the
from a
like
but he
time.
fit in all the Ken clothes.
brown
and he was
haired
freaking-
Ken. I
Derek.
forgot what his name was.
Derek from
Derek.
Barbie
Was
and
it?
the Rockers.
Yeah.
He was
He had
the
like
only
this
Ken
cute, like
that was
slick
worth.
hair.
We're gonna pull Derek up from Barbie and the Rockers. Look at
Let me see if that's him.
Ken versus Derek
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get some coffee.
images. I'm putting
Coffee.
Ken.
Coffee.
I don't want to draw.
Did I say it
Coffee.
right? Coffee.
Coffee.
I'm gonna go get some coffee because for coffee talk. Oh my gosh, the only pictures I can find of Ken, he's naked. Like I don't of Derek. Okay, here's Derek. Now looking at him with this silly fucking outfit they put on him, it's so funny. He's wearing a Lisa Frank outfit. Look at here's Derek.
No, I didn't have him. I had like a dirty blonde, like brown colored hair. I forgot what his name was. That was the only one I was allowed to have because I wasn't allowed to have many boy Kens. Like, what are you doing with the boy? Like, what the fuck? I can't even get married in Barbie Land. Like, I can't have a boyfriend in Barbie Land. Like, what
You're
the
like,
fuck?
I swear he's Muslim.
No,
you draw a beard on your Barbie.
they wanted to control my imagination, bro.
You're like, I promise I'll let you marry off you can arrange my Barbie's marriage. Can I please
I swear.
play with my Barbie?
I think I was given that Ken by one of my like friends in the building. I swear I was not able to buy a Ken doll. I was not allowed to. And I don't think I'm the only girl who had to face that in my culture.
Well, to be fair, a lot of us were like, that means me. My Ken and Barbie were always naked doing stuff, like laying down together.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it really
When I got my
entailed,
Ken.
but because they didn't have genitalia and
You
actually,
didn't know
okay,
what the
so a
fuck they
friend-
were really doing.
yeah, I just knew that's what they did. And
Did you guys always know though that like Skipper was a lesbian too? Was it just me or did your gaydar go off and you were like, "Ah, Skipper"?
No, I
It
thought
just
that
wasn't
was
that
like
exciting.
Teen Barbie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, "Oh, Skipper doesn't even want to wear them clothes."
My friend
Even
just
her
posted
name's
this meme the other
Skipper.
day.
Now she
posted
goes
this
by Skip.
Oh no shit. My friend had
Skip.
posted this meme though of Morticia and whatever his name is from the Addams Family, and that she said, "I'd rather be them than Ken and Barbie." And I was like, "Well, yeah, Ken and Barbie are so PG-13; they don't even have genitalia."
Yeah.
Who would want to be them?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Bye.
They're both just kind of women.
Yeah, one just has a bigger mound.
I know, and that's all pretty much you
Morticia.
ever. That's why every girl knew what scissoring was because they did them with their Ken and Barbie.
I should have known. Shit.
Yeah. That's kind
Like,
of
I
how
didn't do that
everybody
too.
thought sex worked originally. You're like, well, the legs go like this.
Yeah.
Dude, we had our own Sims world with actual Barbies. We did.
Okay. And that's the thing is that's where adults forget that this is all a fucking play, like because we get all wrapped up into fucking work and how serious life is and all of that, and that's why kids are so magic, because kids realize it's all a fucking game. It's all a game, so they sit there, they haven't lost the element of imagination and that it's a game, and we think it's all fucking serious, and it's like
Serious.
magic lies in realizing it's a fucking game.
Yeah,
Huh.
you have to be silly. You have to jump and dance and skip. And
Yeah.
sometimes I've realized it is like observing kids is part of the magic. But I also think playing with kids is a whole different part of the magic.
Like playing with kids. Okay. You assholes out there. Like,
yeah, like
not
the original term of it. Like when a rabbit was a
Assholes.
rabbit and a butterfly was a butterfly. Like
Yeah.
to actually like be in a pool and be like, oh, we're all gonna have races and we're all gonna play Marco Polo and we're all gonna whatever your thing is, once your phone's out of your hand, your little kid innocence starts to come out that you're like, okay, you're the monster. You can't touch any of us. Like you'll start playing these silly games, like the same silly games you played when you were a kid. It's like the things that entertain us and actually make us all laugh are the same things that always did, but we're too busy LARPing mortgages and bills and mortgages and bills.
Yeah.
Grown up.
Or like when I go by the beach, I still like sit by the shore and like do some fucking crazy thing with the sand and play with the sand and make a hole or mold something or create something just to like, be in that. It's just so comforting to be in that space, like being a kid again and just being in that zone, focused on that. It's sand, but you're at the beach. Yeah. It's just another element of relaxation. that you put
There's
yourself
something
in.
kind of incredible about creating something that you know is going to be taken away. I think
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
only thing akin to making something like a sand sculpture is drawing in chalk on a sidewalk like Mary Poppins.
I
Mhm.
So
love
you look
sidewalk chalk is my favorite thing to do, especially before it rains. For whatever reason, it's kind of fun knowing it's gonna rain.
Yeah, because
it's for
sometimes
the
it
same
Masterpiece and it's gonna be taken
reason.
stays.
away. Yeah,
It's creating a castle by the shoreline. It's like
yeah.
knowing that, okay, high tide's going to be here in 12 hours, but everybody walks by until then is going to see this and nobody else will ever see it again the way that it is right now. That's sidewalk
Mm,
chalk.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love doing
Like
that.
I made a sand snowman on the beach my first year here, and it was a really nice one with boobs and everything. And I put the Trump hat on him, and put Trump 2024 on there, and people were coming by taking pictures, but I knew it wasn't going to be there forever. But it was just like, let me just create something fun and funny, and people who passed by like had a kick out of it. So yeah.
When you're camping or something, do you ever balance rocks? Do you ever do anything when you're camping that you're like, you
Like
should never touch
Karen's.
anything? But do you ever touch stuff and leave it for other people to see behind you?
Not camping, no.
When we went camping, I don't know, like pocket knife was like the first thing that we put in our
That's
pants.
what I was
And
thinking of
so
in my head right this
we'd
second
whittle,
is my
and
pocket
then
knife. I was like,
I'd
where's
always
my
carve
pocket knife?
my name into a tree or my initials in a tree, which is like kind of messed up to the tree, but it's kind of cool to go back and
Is
find
it
it.
though? Because the outside of the
I don't
bark
think
is
so.
fine.
Yeah, it is fine. So I've just heard people like, you shouldn't do that. And it's like,
Well, then think of that spell if
well,
you were
why
to
do I
put a
have a pocket knife?
sigil or something
Yeah.
there. Like think of like how carving something into a tree, like the power of you must need it because we realized we could just take shavings of it and it would retain the same power.
Yeah, like how they extract what is it called from a tree? Not plastic, fucking rubber or latex from a tree.
Yeah,
Like
rubber
they
tree.
they shave the bark off the whole entire tree, but a line at a time, just so they can extract whatever the tree wants to give it at that moment, and then they shave another line of the bark, and then more milk comes out of it. So the tree is still alive, and then it slowly grows a new layer of bark outside of the layer that they pulled off, but it takes years, but they're still alive. I don't know if it hurts them.
Or this, you could just take a tree and you could take a like dying plant and you could take a piece of that dying plant and cut it out and put it on the living strong tree and then just take honey and fucking put it around it and like make sure like tie it to it with honey and the honey will seal both the tree. It'll heal the one that needs to be healed, then you can cut it off again and
Yeah.
grow the roots back out.
Yeah,
Or
you
if
can
you
make
just
like a hybrid tree with like 17 different plants on it growing out of one tree.
Yeah, and you could have a really strong tree that's meant for the area, and then you can just graft on some fruit trees to it so that you
Mhm.
have fruit trees that can grow in the area that normally can't because the trees speak to each other and they'll send that tree what it needs. And I
Mhm.
just love that the honey, you could also just like take a ball of dirt and it put plastic around it and put the ball of dirt and tie that to any part of the tree and roots will start growing from that part.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. So there must be some kind of magic if you were to write in that tree.
Don't
You
the
know,
mushrooms help like carry all the messages out through the tree? Isn't that part of their system? The
I think that
psilocybin.
what is it?
Mycelium. Yeah.
Mycelium,
Uh-huh.
the mycelium network. I think
That's
of the
like the
Pacific
network.
Northwest is the biggest organism on the planet.
Uh-huh.
well, even cut flowers. I watched my husband's grandma. She's like old Mexican lady. She took a cut rose and she decided it was so beautiful. She kept watering it even after it died. It fucking grew roots. I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like, it didn't rot or anything. It eventually grew roots.
That's what I would tell most people. Like, if don't just stick it right in the ground, but if you love something from the store, there's a good chance, like the way that they used to show us all how to grow a potato when we were a kid or an avocado. Most things, if you stab them and just put them a little bit in water with sunlight hitting them like that in the window, they'll grow this super hardy, like root network, and then they're even better to plant. but
Yeah.
so much stuff that you
So-
just can put in your window, or you can just take from the top of, and it'll keep growing. I just feel like we're so far away from how much nature can do for us, and it's just really simple, like Pinteresting stuff that our grandmothers used to know in spades, and now we're just so far away from it.
Yeah.
Even like alfalfa sprouts and stuff like that. Like my mom used to make them all the time. You just put them in the windowsill with water, like for a day, and then you just put them in a jar and you just shake them with water
Romaine
and
lettuce,
every
lettuce,
day,
Yes.
like,
all
and then
kinds
all
of
of a sudden you got
things.
them. But then they were like, oh, alfalfa sprouts have listeria or something like that. And it's like, you know what? No, they don't. They're fucking plant. They're freaking green, and they probably are really, really good for you.
Gutters.
So they want you to think that they're bad.
Gutter systems. This is a really weird thing. I've just had a few friends with hydroponic farms. If you take gutter systems and put them on a wall, because of how little space they take up, you could put gutter, 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 and just have it go down a wall like diagonally a little bit, a slow incline all the way down. Lettuce, like Layla was saying, any kind of lettuce. It doesn't matter. Butter lettuce, romaine lettuce, a green leaf. Like pretty much you can just cut the top off of it, take the whole lettuce, and it'll grow again. And
Yeah.
so gutter systems, because it doesn't need a lot of soil and just likes washing water like that, you can actually use like just clay balls. You can use something else, because the lettuce isn't
Yeah.
required. It's not looking for a lot of nutrients. That's not why you eat lettuce. So there's just pretty much the more nutrients something needs, the more soil you want it to be in for the nutrients. But hydroponics is the bomb. I think
It
if you could have a
is.
farm partially, like I mean, anywhere, but somewhere that it doesn't freeze, like in Florida, where you can have actual fish in a pond, so you can set that system up. I know a lot of people with hydroponic farms on land around here that you would never guess.
Yeah, my in-laws did in Shelter Cove and in Humboldt County, and it was really freaking amazing to see, because it's such little water. Because water is a big issue in Northern California. So
It's strange for water to be an issue. They've
well,
created that issue because we had
and it's
clean
not
water
half the
everywhere.
year. It rains a ton, like probably half the year. But yeah, something that they're doing is
Yeah, like we had
the
clean
weather
rivers,
manipulation.
ponds, all of that. And now it's just like, not ponds, lakes, rivers, and now it's just fucking non-drinkable. Like parasitic as fuck. Acidic as fuck.
I think that's the CIA shit.
Yeah. Who controls the water?
No pressure, Jay, but if you want to hang out Friday night, you should come in Good Guys.
You should
And
come in, good
you can
guys.
pick the word, and we'll get our shit together.
Yeah,
Our
we'll even
audience would
costume
probably
it up.
appreciate it. I think it's bullshit. I just wanted to make mention to YouTube. I think it's bullshit, and there's something with the universe. The two shows that we got shadow banned on, or like blocked, were the two shows that planned for time ahead of time. Alan Marcus was the first, Ben Balderson was the second. So our two shows that were supposed to be like our big up spider shows, had to be done on the other Secret Society of Good Guys channel, because we were shadow banned here.
Yeah.
So it's like
Annoying.
yeah, it's just annoying. I'm almost set up. I'm almost like preparing myself for like the third spider is the time that takes down
You're not
Project
allowed
Chaney.
to talk about this. This doesn't belong here. Who said? Who the like? I hate that they think that they have authority over us. Like, who gave them this authority? Like, doesn't that piss you off, y'all? Like, who are these people that are saying that we're not allowed to say what we want to say on here?
That's why I also
it
kind of
angers
like
me.
Motherfuckers. That's who they
I
are.
almost want to do this enough and on enough channels on YouTube and keep them going up that if everyone follows them, all your other favorite content providers, to keep their channels up, they can come say it here and just get it off their chest. We'll lose a channel and then be like, all right, find us next week. We'll figure out where like we're going to figure out somewhere to be, because I just don't, it just triggers me when I have to make up words for shit that we all know to be true. It's such gaslighting. It's just like a form of gaslighting that we all have to, they're forcing us to LARP and pick words that we don't believe in. And that's why the new thing has become the thing that gets us taken down if we're not allowed to sit. Like it becomes a whole thing.
I just heard a new word for freaking the word that got us in trouble last time. It was like the arm something, and it was by the lady who freaking did my massage the other day who freaking tripped me out. I didn't tell Layla the story.
Do you want
I
to tell
started
the
talking to
audience
her.
too?
Yeah, I kind of do.
All right. Well,
So
from the beginning.
from the beginning, okay, so this isn't my regular massage lady.
Nephilim in the beginning.
This is like the second time
Nephilim.
she's done my massage though, because she really tore me up in a good way the last time. So I know I needed to go back to her. So she's kind of talking to me, and I tell her that I podcast, and she asks about the podcast, and she's like, I don't watch any TV anymore. I only watch YouTube. And I was like, well, that's great. We're on YouTube. And I tell her that we're kind of conspiracy, philosophy, all of that, and she's like, well, I mostly just watch like, prepping stuff. And anyway, once I said mainstream media, she's like, she goes nuts, and she's like, so she's excited. She's like tapping me and like forgetting to massage me. She's tapping me to talk to me and stuff. And then she's like, she's talking about how she came from Texas, and then she took $40 in rolled pennies and went to this place in Arkansas, like Hot Springs, Arkansas. And she ended up meeting some lady who took her to this place called the Women's Place, and it's spelled WIMMINS. And it sounds a lot like kind of what Chaney wants to do with like a place for women and children, except that this is just for women, and you have to be like the L word only to be able to go there. But she's like, I was like 19 and yeah, lesbian. You can't be bi. You have to be a straight lesbian. So, but she said like
straight lesbian, but not bi.
Yeah,
you have to be an old-fashioned American lesbian.
But she's like, immediately we get there,
but not on mine. You guys don't let it confuse you with this is a different cult that she's talking about.
Yeah, because ours wouldn't just be for lesbian. So
and just for everyone out there, I don't have a cult. It would be such a piss poor cult.
Like for real.
Not yet.
Oh my gosh. I would be like, if you saw the car I drove, it's not cult leader worthy. Everyone in my cult would drive a better car than me. I just need a big working truck. Okay, back to the lesbian cult. That's not a cult.
She freaking, the lady there, she's like a author. She's like, well, let's go make it rain. So all these women are there for the first time, and she gives them each over a little rattle. And she goes, I remember mine. It was like a snake, a wooden snake that moved, and they all go out, they take their tops off. And she's like, I was kind of my mind blown, but it was safe because it was all just women. Like we knew none of us were going to be hurt for doing it. So they took their tops off in a circle, and they're using their little rattles and stuff. And then they call down the rain. And I was like, oh, you guys weather witch. She's like, yes. Like, so she's like, tripping
That's
out.
That's how Layla and I met, but it wasn't gay. Just kidding.
And then I'm like, okay, we're speaking the same language here. So then I kind of like, she asked more about the podcast. I'm talking about it, and I talk about you and your spleen, and she goes, I don't have a spleen either. I was like, what the fuck? Like she's like, so she's into the whole, it's just a freaking this realm, because we're like, it's not a planet, it's whatever, it's a realm. And she gets in, like, it was just weird to meet somebody who was totally on the fucking same page and had so many synchronicities, including the spleen. I was like,
and she was rubbing your body.
I liked it.
I know, but isn't that crazy too? Where it's like, think of the world we live in, where typically that would be such an intimate thing, but you were actually having a conversation with somebody touching your body, which typically when that would happen would be like us laying in bed with somebody doing this, but there was some different kind of intimacy there, but that you shared this information that would be like where people are like, that's pillow talk. But I would also say that is our, like, in a simple astrology way, that's our moon sign, and not everybody gets to see our moon sign out in the world. But I imagine like your guard's a little down, but she probably works a lot in her moon sign, like, because she has to set candles and set a mood and do a whole thing. She has to, like, I don't know, I just think it's interesting that you're kind of sharing like an intimate, you're pretty much naked, another person's touching you, but it's not sexual at all. but it's not
Yeah.
like it's not sexual. It's like, you know what I mean? Like what a crazy, like different. And then you're like, oh, I feel safe enough to share this next thing, like mainstream media, something that might take me 10 normal times of having coffee with you. But
Yeah, because philosophy is not for everybody. People
Yeah.
are living
Yeah,
in
you
la
have to
la land.
bite-sized
Oh
chunks
my
for most people. And I
God.
was able to go
Yeah.
straight like, this is a simulation. She's like, it is a simulation. I know it's a simulation. And I'm like, lady, I
Hi,
like
nice
you.
to meet you again.
She's like, this was meant to happen. You were supposed to be here. I was like, I know, because she's not even my normal lady.
You're like, I know. Don't try to tell me. Like, I don't dream.
Imagine.
You're like, I know. That's what does one clairaudient say to the other? I know. I know.
I know. I see you, witch. That's what I said.
You were like MAGA.
Oh, I
not
did tell
in
her that
the-
too.
You
know
were
what
like
MAGA means?
MAGA. Yeah. I said that today too to someone.
That's funny.
And everybody in the room was like, is that what it really means? And I was like, yeah, MAGA means witch in Latin. And they were like, whoa, that's crazy. What are you telling me? Donald Trump's a witch? Somebody said this in the room. What are you telling me? Donald Trump's a witch? And I'm like, I don't know. When was the last time you heard the phrase witch hunt? Everybody
All the
and
time.
stopped and looked down. And I was just like,
something to ponder.
I know.
Yeah.
I didn't get to show Layla yet.
Mm.
My MAGA witch hat.
Oh, I love it. Does it say MAGA on it?
Not yet, but it's gonna
Yeah.
say witch in Latin.
I love it.
It's gonna
I
be
love it.
so wonderful. Red. It wasn't quite the color red I wanted, but I was like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
MAGA
I mean,
witch hat. I wonder
it's
how
all a
that'll go
spectrum
over at the rally.
nowadays.
Wonder how that'll go over at the daddy rally next time. Witch in Latin, just walking around.
You're
and they're
going?
gonna-
You're going to
haven't-
the next one?
I mean, I just haven't missed one.
Mm.
I haven't missed one, including the one.
Mm.
If they're in driving, like I've pretty much gone to everyone in Florida, except for the ones that are at like the Republican National Convention or some, or not the, what's that? The blah blah pack, whatever
Yeah,
pack.
a
CPAC.
CPAC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't care about that. I don't care about
Yeah.
the conservative groups or things like that. But if it's just a solo Trump for Trump rally, I'll go.
He went to the Bronx recently. I was like, oh shit. Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
The boogie
Back in
down.
New York.
Mhm.
I saw that.
And it was a great outcome. Even CNN are like, oh, I didn't expect that many people who are actually from the Bronx to actually be here. Because there's a lot of travelers of a following of Trump. And yeah, the majority of people are actually from the Bronx. And they were all like calling AOC out and then blah blah blah. And it was a good rally.
They were saying like a huge crowd.
Mm-hmm. Huge.
And then they were putting pictures up on CNN and they were like, Trump lied about the crowd. And then people were like, but that's 7 hours before the rally started. That like the
Dumbasses.
crowd was already like, you know, but I don't know.
Oh my God.
I don't know. We will see. But it's just funny.
New
I just
York-
think go on.
Oh no, I'd go up finish. I was just like totally
Oh,
gonna
I
change
just
the subject,
think the Palm Beach of it all and the Mar-a-Lago of it all. We always talk about all the buildings and, you know, the Southern White House with 4 bomb shelters. And if you ever drive down that street, it is as presidential as DC. I just think it was always set up there if, because DC, if we're talking about magical lands in these lines and we were just saying all this stuff that could be magic, DC is not part of the United States of America at all. It literally is
Yeah.
a foreign occupation on our soil. It is a foreign occupation.
Mar-a-Lago.
And so that's Mar and C. It's
Mar-a-Lago.
uh-huh.
To make and largo and to push away, to make and to give away, or no, to make and to move away. That's what it literally translate. Maro largo.
It's sea and lagoon in
Maro largo. I'm gonna get the right definition about this
Yeah,
and
I'd like to
see where
know.
it goes. Yeah, that's very interesting.
but it's
Because
just
we're saying Mar-a-Lago, and I'm like,
So Mar-a-Lago and that whole, it's in Palm Beach, it's in America. DC isn't in America. So you have Virginia and you have Maryland, and then you have this faux savior between its legs. It's not real, and everything about it, I think, is hollowed out. I think I'm wondering, it just feels like a stage. It never felt more like a stage than January 6th. But I just, if there is a president, he's in Palm Beach
Yeah.
still. If there is a president of this soil, he's in
Has
Palm Beach
anyone
still.
has anyone been keeping up with what's his name, the guy who's the true commander in chief, post general master? What the fuck was his name? Who's all about syntax and the law of the land and the Constitution? How he captured the last flag in 1992 when the War of Kosovo and Serbia and all that.
That was so much stuff.
Yeah, and how like that's what the war was truly about, like the selling of the United States of America. But he captured the last flag, and apparently what we're watching right now is technically a movie, and that the true commander in chief is some, I don't know if it's him or someone else, but they are like the actors or the puppets of the real commanders in chief is what I'm trying to say here. But again, I don't know. I don't know. They want to create a false reality. They can by using the media and by having us enveloped in it. So
Broadcasting. Yeah.
Russell J. Gould. There you go. That guy.
I think it's interesting that Mar-a-Lago was built by Marjorie Merriweather Post. And so like that cereal, you said something Post. So we have Kellogg's and Post that are two big things in this country. Like it like Coke and Pepsi, Kellogg's and Post in our country. So she builds a White House essentially down there. And I also like Merriweather. I feel like it's very witchy in Fort Salem, Bellwether.
I like
And you were
Merriweather.
talking about weather witching. That you would
Merriweather is my
have.
favorite fairy on what's it called?
Well,
Oh
also
yeah, Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping
Well, they
Beauty.
would-
Yeah.
like what your family
So she's
did would be
scratchy.
what your last name held for in some cultures. So I think also what your bloodline's magic did, also your last name would have held. And that could have been for a long time because in so many cultures, the woman's last name is always in with the children. Like it
Well, the last
mixes.
names also
Yeah.
were tied to the land, also and where you lived. So you were born there, and your last name was part of the town's
dependent
village. Where you were from.
dependent on like I'm a northern ash tree, but dependent on your people, if your people got a skill set, your people's last name could have become blacksmith. And those kind of names could have eventually like worn down or worn off. But it makes me wonder in the womb of it all, because in a lot of cultures the female last name would carry on in the lineage as well for a very long time. But maybe somewhere, if the bloodline and the magic and the junk DNA was figured out, that we had to start hiding our children from them, we would have sometimes, I think, what we consider like, oh, look it, this is, we need to get feminism and put our name back, blah blah blah. Maybe they buried our name to protect us, you fool. Like, what about if some of the stuff we look at, like, this is the patriarchy, or this is the matriarchy, or this is whatever the TV tells us it is? What about if somewhere in the stolen history we buried it to keep our bloodline safe?
Well, it's like the whole your mother's maiden name thing. It's almost like your security questions. Or,
even what is the
used to
main
be.
name called? Her maiden name.
Yeah,
like it's
maiden
almost
name.
like her voyage, her maiden voyage. Like it's even everything with the
Maritime law.
everything with the GD maritime. It comes up everywhere.
It's so
I even
weird.
like that somebody was calling or that wrote in our chat doctor, like instead of DOCK, a doctor. Like you're just bringing a ship into port. You're a docker.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Language is so weird.
So then if we're going to say this, not all dockers are pediatricians. So what else are they bringing into reality inside that friggin' building, that seance science building? if not all doctors are actually performing birth, are they all in fact bringing energy into the realm that's not necessarily in flesh?
Life and death.
Yeah, so it's dockers. What else are they docking? What other kind of fear energies or trances or seances or injections are they putting into you that aren't necessarily a baby all the time? That we always
Cargo.
think docker. That is, oh my gosh. Hold on one sec. There's a lizard in my house.
It's one of those
That was the
little
other thing that she brought up. The lady who was giving me the massage, she's like, and there's the words, like, she's like, I'm really into like figuring out words. It's like, you really need to watch our show. It's like Layla likes to break down words a lot. It's like, we do get it into etymology, but she brought up the whole spelling, and I was like, yeah, spelling, grimoire, grammar, all of it. Like, it's all
Yeah. I love when you connect with people like that out of nowhere and just like, oh my God, you're an awakened soul. I love that. Like,
in real
because it's
life.
very rare. Yeah. Like you try to explain even to like people that I work with and like they know how conspiratorial I am. But then I
Yeah.
explain these things and they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But then I see what they say like towards the situation in the Middle East and I'm like, y'all are still fucking blind. Like,
It's a play. It's a puppet. Yeah, it's
like stop feeding into it. Like literally stop. I can't even pick up my phone anymore because I'm just like this is just too much. Like I see the tactics that they're trying to pull on the masses. So I'm very
It
wary.
is an apocalyptic playbook, and
Yeah.
it's like they forced every one of the. Was that rain?
No, firecrackers, fireworks. Yeah.
Oh, because it's Memorial Day. This is my favorite thing from one of my guy friends, and he is like, he said, "This is triggering to me," and I said, "What?" And he goes, "I hate on Memorial Day how many people thank me for my service," and he said, "Cool, you can thank me on Veterans Day. I'm not dead."
yeah, and
He's
I know
like, the
Memorial
amount
Day
of
is
people,
not for
happy dead Veterans Day.
yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
It's
Remembrance
literally about
Day.
dead people. It's a remembrance day. And so it's like the fireworks are good and everything. It's like a Day of the Dead celebration if you want to do it that way, because Americans love turning everything into a barbecue. And I big up it, but it is just funny that veterans will be like, this isn't my shit. I'm living. Look at, I'm right here in front of you. Don't you see me? You don't need to give
In the
memoriam.
flesh.
Yeah. Damn. Damn. That's well, yeah, and then everybody goes out and celebrates, like, and parties and shit. And I'm just like, isn't that a little disrespectful? Like, or are you celebrating their life, or are you celebrating that they died? Because this is what that day is, like remembering that they died for their country. So I don't know.
It is.
Strange.
President's Day, it's their dead day. Martin Luther King Day. They do it on their birthdays sometimes. Like, I feel like I'm old enough to remember when President's Day used to just be called Washington's Day and Lincoln's Day.
Really?
Yeah, it
man.
wasn't like President's
know
Day. I
that.
felt like it was their separate. They had separate days. And then Martin Luther King got a day, and they put the President's Day together and gave Martin Luther King one of their days. Like, we never got an extra day. We just got the
Swapped.
days renamed. But it still seemed very important in either the business or the ritual that we didn't work that day.
I had some weird, like, Mississippi running backwards happen today, and I forgot what it was. I was like so excited to bring it up tonight, and I forgot. Dang it! It was a big one
Mississippi, you
too.
said?
Yeah, like Chaney's whole, like, I'm from the timeline where the Mississippi ran, backwards.
River
but
flowed
there's-
backward.
Oh yeah.
Did you
yeah,
ask did you ask Spleenless Lady if the Mississippi flowed backward on her timeline ever?
I did not, but I bet you it did. Maybe she's watching tonight.
Big up your spleenless self. I know. I know. There's so much I want to say about the spleen. Well, I could say, your spleen. This is what when I was getting Reiki and stuff, it is directly correlated to joy, and I felt like as a person, I lacked joy. Like I had a lot of like I was such an observer. I would watch joy, but I would never participate in the joy. I would watch sorrow, but I wouldn't participate in the sorrow. It was like I became such an observer of emotions that I stopped feeling the emotion in a way. So joy was something that I lacked because I didn't. Joy is something that you should experience every day in the smallest things, like this little like giggle to yourself or this like it's just like this kid's emotion. And I never had that. Even when I was a child, I lacked it. I was always
And that
this kind of adult self.
and that's the weirdest thing too. That's where this also gets weird, is that the lady's name is Joy.
Wow.
It's all so fucking weird.
I wasn't gonna out her name unless you wanted
Oh, I
to.
don't
So
care. It's
I was
just
like, I
Joy.
thought
Like,
about it,
I'm
and I
not
was like,
ignoring
I'm
her
not
last name.
outing anything
Yeah,
by
her
saying
name
this
is Joy.
true
It's like
part of your
fucking
spleen.
weird. Yeah. The
I like that
whole
we're
story
catching
is
up
weird.
Layla with all of our conversation that happened while she's been
I know.
Yeah.
here. But
Y'all,
we're catching the audience up too.
I have been in a terrible like health space, but I'm getting
Can we bitch about the medical community without
yeah,
talking about wacky Mackie Fauci for a minute? Just the
yeah,
medical community in general.
yeah.
When you know something's wrong with you and you're trying to get help, because all of us fear going to the doctors. None of us have time to go to the doctor. None of us want to be sick, so we don't want to hear these things. When you're
Some of us
doing
don't have insurance.
when you're doing all the right things to get help and they're not trying to help you. They tell you
It's
that
the
Especially when
shit's
it's
in
worst.
your
so
head.
evident.
They tell you that like, oh, your blood works fine. You don't have cancer. Cool. There's a million other things that could be wrong with me.
I'm
Yeah,
still
and
in
it's
pain and
like
it's affecting my daily life.
You
Yeah.
want a
yeah, it
painkiller?
is.
You want to give me
Mm,
a level of your pain to get a painkiller? No, I want to fix what's wrong with me.
yeah. And they won't get it. Nope, they'll just send you to a specialist. A
When I took
specialist.
their advice, and honestly, this should be something else I just sue for, because I have made a habit of their advice because they said you can't, just take it easy. Don't run for a while. Don't There's so much of your yoga, stop doing that, cuz just let your spleen heal. Just let your spleen heal. And I was like, "Okay." So I stopped running. Okay, my yoga got lighter and lighter. Okay, my yoga got so light, my running got so light it just became the couch. And it became this grown habit why I thought one day my spleen was going to magically heal. But really, just for a year, I became inactive altogether and it helped my muscles atrophy. And then my spleen exploded. So it was like
Yeah.
I listened to them doing everything right, but I was doing everything wrong, just waiting for some, okay,
Yeah,
even though
like the
my body,
gaslighting.
I knew something was wrong. Your body gives you every single, how many signs and flags does your body have to give you a warning something's
That
not
something's not
okay?
right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
so when
that's
you're
where
like, I
I've
hate
got
you,
to that
doctor.
point. It was just like, okay, you're ignoring all these other signs and you're coming to me with, oh, you came here for minor pain in your abs, but it's nothing because no, I didn't come here just for that. I gave them a list of reasons why I'm here and it's all affecting my GI tract, but you don't want to look into it. I have to go to a specialist. You could look into it. You could do a scan. You could do something to see what it could be so we can direct it to a better person. Like it could be in anything at this point,
And
like
this
it's
is what I
from
hate though, is that they do that
here
scale,
to
like
the, yeah,
they do that scale of like 1 to 10, what's your pain threshold? And it's like, you know, we are, I'm sorry, women can tolerate a fuck ton of pain. So there's never hardly ever a time when you're in a 10 on pain. Like you've like, I
hmm
could take more, even though it's freaking pretty
And that
debilitating.
painful, and you get used to
pain
it too.
threshold is a
Yeah.
psyop created by the pharmaceutical industry so that they could always give you more pills, because they
hmm
knew no man that was a real man and no woman who even knew about pain was going to say they were in a 10 ever, even if they were like, I can barely talk right now. I guess that's a 9.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, you can always be in less pain. So even if you were a 1 or a 2, you were like, maybe I'm a 2 right now. Well, you could be a 1. Like
Yeah,
you could always be in less pain. So it was all a psyop created by the pharmaceutical industry just so they could get us all addicted to their opioids, which is why they were in Afghanistan to begin with. And they all got us addicted to their opioids because they didn't realize, oh, we were already controlled by China. And the only way you can control the red dragon is by controlling opioids. This has always been a thing. Always, 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 forever. You can look into it as far as your history knows. The only way you can control a population as big as China is because they've always been addicted to opium. And so know this is why synthetic opium, this is why all the thing. And so it's always been a big part of the underground of the war we don't know we're in. And a big part of it is China figured out fentanyl on us. And so why we were like, we're going to get all the poppy fields, we're going to get all the opium, we're going to get all they're like, we're going to turn your freaking whole civilization into addicted zombies under your nose. And you're not even going to know it. And your silly drug czar is going to tell you the same thing they told you about every other drug. They're going to tell you all lies about it. You can't even touch it with your finger or you're going to die. You can't even do any of it. One touch, you're going to be addicted. That there's going to be people all over the USA slowly doing fentanyl, not telling anyone. And they're like, I'm not addicted. I'm not just dying. I must have a superpower so I don't have to tell anyone. And this is why they need Narcan spreading all over the country, because everybody's having a fentanyl addiction and they're not telling us, and doctors are using it in the hospitals everywhere. So yeah, China's winning the opium war, and it's called fentanyl.
And I feel like the government is also spraying something to make people sick also. I feel like they're doing a test on everyone. I don't know if they're microwaving. I don't know if they're doing something, whether it's with the 5G. And yeah, people are saying, oh, but Trump changed those towers or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I just saw documents of what was being said to be true. I don't know if any of this stuff is true, but it does feel like they are, because they've tested on Americans for I don't know how many years on all types of areas, whether it's the air, the water, the soil, food, whatever the case may be. So I think right now they're purposely testing on our people right now,
I agree.
our
with
own
you.
government. I feel like they're
I
doing
do
something
too.
nefarious.
When
Yeah.
I was out at sea, away from this country, and it's just a little bit, but that's why I think the maritime, and it's just so funny to me that everybody in the world is like, yeah, oh, we're really going to go to World War III, and they don't believe we're just watching a big movie so they all can keep looshing us out of our actual currency and our energetic currency and keep us sick and keep testing us in these Nazi labs called our countries everywhere, USA and everywhere beyond. But they're all like little sectioned off quarantined areas that they can test different things on. We're all in our own separate little pig pens, and we can only travel where certain pigs are allowed to travel, and that's why they have to document us, because certain pigs, they need it, they're going to have different medication. But all these countries agree on the Antarctic Treaty, agree on moon shit, and agree on maritime law. All these countries just blanketly, I just don't believe this nonsense. But when I was on the cruise boat away from the American waters, just a little bit away, I felt great. I didn't even realize that I felt a little lousy all the time being on shore until I was out at sea and like on the islands. And I got here and I had a little bit of malaise, a little bit of headache, a little bit of nausea, like all this stuff that I just has become my normal. That isn't my normal, but I didn't realize it till I was. And I'm not stressed at my job. I'm not a stressed person. I have joy in my life right now. I'm pretty fucking like if I vent about something, it is so silly, it's just to make me laugh.
Probably just hormonal.
Yeah, or we can vent about like the actual craziness of the world of watching the psyop called The Apocalypse Now on TV. But other than that, there's something else that they're doing to us in this country that the second I got back, I felt it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's something.
I didn't see any chemtrails out to sea.
Off. For like people to be dizzy all the time, dehydrated, low on vitamin D, low on all these fucking things, and people are just like
dizzy.
Everybody's
like
dizzy.
Yeah.
Vertigo,
I
this,
commented
that,
on
and
your
I'm just
post
like,
about being the dizziness, and somebody's like, "Are you vaxxed and swabbed?" I'm like, "What the
No.
fuck are you think I'm following Layla if I'm vaxxed?"
You think I could make it this far down the rabbit hole? Like you would even know who Godpill Angel was.
Oh my
That is the
gosh.
perfect comment I ever heard. Like I wouldn't be following Layla if I was vaxxed. The shit
I didn't
she's
even
screaming.
say anything back.
God.
It's like it's not even worth it. But come on now.
I
That is
know,
so funny
right?
though, because Layla going live, like if you're vaccinated, she's gonna tell you one. She's gonna tell you about one and how
Yeah.
she'll never sleep with you and how no one ever should.
Yeah, like literally a walking fucking experiment. Stay away, hazard.
And she'll be like, tell me you're a coward without telling me you're
So
a
you're a coward. Oh, you got vaccinated. Oh, you
Oh
got
my gosh, look at
boosted
this
too.
is how we do
That's
it.
like saying you got fucked in the ass.
Look at this is how we do it. We forgot.
Oh,
Oh
damn
shit.
it!
We don't give a shit. We don't
Oh,
give a shit.
yes.
Do it again.
Make sure
Ban
you're
us again,
following Secret
motherfuckers.
Society of Good Guys channel.
Find us on
so
the
you
other
can still
channel.
Find us. or on Rumble.
This is how it always happens. I
That's
didn't
my
realize
fault.
it either. I started to pull my pants up.
It got serious.
I kicked my shoes off. I was starting to take my earrings out.
This is for entertainment purposes only.
This
We
is
are
for
not
entertainment
distributing
purposes
medical advice.
only. Let me find my
Pfizer is
mustache.
amazing, and we love what they did for the entire world. Truly, amazingly.
Oh my goodness, I'm hot. Whoo.
Sorry.
Woo, exactly.
No, it's
the who?
okay.
The who?
That is so funny. We're gonna Tom Hanks plasma bag. I feel like we should be able to talk about it still because we talked about medical atrocities that whole rest of the time. That should be allowed to be talked about, and every single thing that we've said can be proven over and over and over again everywhere.
Yeah,
It's just infuriating.
it's in the
Okay.
news too. Like they talk about it. It's
I
like,
know.
why?
That's where I'm
why-
like, come on, Al Gore rhythms, catch up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were
Albert.
talking about we just felt better. Chemtrails we can talk about. That's fine. Apparently the censors allow you to talk about chemtrails.
Cloud seeding, chemtrails, whatever. That's where I think the cicadas came from. They just dropped the eggs in some parts of the United States, and it was perfect time for hatching, and they all hatched at once, and here we go.
This is my
The
favorite thing that Abby
cicadas.
says. That's even better. You're gonna love this.
Uh,
Oh,
She says
well, yeah, go,
there's
you say it.
cicadas that come out in cycles, like 17 years or 12-year cycles. There's cicadas that come out in all different cycles. They come out every year. It just
So-
happens like it's like the 17-year cicada comes out every year. It's just a 17-year cicada. The 12-year cicada comes out every year. It's just a 12-year cicada. These
Yeah.
cicadas come out all the time. There's nothing
Yeah.
So they're
different
like,
about
"Oh,
it than ever.
all these cicadas are coming out, the 17 and the 20 year. They do it every fucking year. Every
Yeah.
year. Every year the cicadas come
It
out.
makes her
Because
crazy.
honestly, that's the thing. Okay, cicadas are important. They're like everybody thinks that they're fucking pestilence or something like that too. They're not. They are the bottom of the food chain. They feed all the little animals that feed the bigger animals. So they're like on the prairie, especially here, they are the absolute most important thing on the food chain. So they
Yeah,
are
apparently.
important. You need the cicadas. They feed all the little fucking critters that feed the bigger critters that freaking. So
yeah,
it's
and
like
you know what other bigger
they
critter
hatch
they
every year.
feed? Apparently, there's this TikToker who is going viral right now because her grandmother collected the cicadas, started washing them, and started cooking them, and it's a delicacy. Apparently, they're nice and full of protein, and they are a delicacy for that bigger species of animal that we are.
I'm not Indiana
Fucking
Jones.
gross,
To each
man.
their own. I'm
Ugh,
not into
I'm sorry.
anything that's slimy or poppy or anything like that. So, but yeah.
Ugh.
I don't want to. I won't even do it on Survivor.
Nope. A cicada?
No.
Like
I'm
what?
not frightened of things. Like I'm the person on Fear Factor. There isn't a height that'll scare me. I'm a great swimmer. There isn't an amount of time I'll hold my breath. There isn't like any of the other fears. I'm in. If you want me to lay in a thing of maggots or put some kind of balls in my mouth,
Yeah, I'm not.
it's so
Um,
funny that it just happened to be balls and it's me saying it.
Fear
Like, I
Factor was
just thinking of Fear
rituals.
Factor. Dude, Fear Factor is the way the elite literally
Got off.
torture us in games so that they can get our adrenochrome. That's what I really believe. And that's how
Yeah.
they were mocking us in plain sight. And that's why I think the JRE organization, the JRE Association, it should just be treated just like the FBI and the CIA. The idea that anyone thinks that Rogan filter is at all authentic or organic is wild to me. It's such
Really?
astroturf.
What do you think about that whole Terrence podcast that went all over the place and his theory of
Oh, you mean the Disney actor Terrence
guy.
Howard, the one
Yeah.
who was on the same TV show with Jussie Smollett?
Yeah.
You mean the fact that he sat down with the JRE organization and they didn't even bring up the whole Jussie Smollett thing one fucking time in that conversation? He just let that guy carry on, where you can find another interview of Terrence Howard with like long hair on and a wig that was just a little bit before that. I encourage everyone to go watch this narcissist talk about this. But I think everything that Terrence Howard said, cool, you read some Tesla stuff, cool, you read some John Dee stuff, cool, you like, there's nothing about the periodic table he brought out that was new. He just somehow wanted to include it into his goddom. He was like, this thing, like he wanted to be a chosen one.
Well, he did bring up how the periodic table is tied to its own resonant frequency, and that you can play
Not new
that
information.
tune, color, and it's all in a circle format. The format of it is like very like cube like, but it should be like a harmonic 360, like the pendulum going all those different ways that it can possibly go in the circumference.
The way that we
idea.
see the periodic table is just one way to look at the periodic table. It isn't at all saying this is the only way. It's like a simplified form of that thing, all the other stuff. But then he said so much stuff that isn't true. Like, so it's like he said the same way as Alex Jones does, the same way, because the higher you get and the more filters you add, the more truth that has to be there for the small lies to resonate. And so that's what Joe Rogan is all together. Everything on his show is cheesecloth to catch those people that are just breaking out of the Matrix way of thinking. And so he'll have a Terrence Howard on only for 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, to have Neil deGrasse Tyson on, so that all those people get a feel good thing of like their pill of like, oh, this feels good to me. But it's like Terrence Howard himself is a Disney actor, and I think he's put there so everything that's real in what he was talking about looks fucking Looney Tunes, because he's Looney Tunes. When you look up him, the whole thing actually too, that I don't know if anyone noticed it, but because I'm such an observer, was an organic drop commercial that Joe Rogan probably sells at his website that Terrence Howard had an alarm set for that he had to take out and tell everybody about oregano drops, and that this is why he looks so young. No, he looks so young because Joe Rogan has that lighting in his camera. And the same reason, if you see Joe Rogan IRL right now, he don't look great, but he has this weird lighting in that studio. And if you see Terrence Howard on this interview where he's wearing this big long wig just a few months before, he looks the same. He looks his age. And so it's just like, no, he had weird lighting. The one other thing, Terrence Howard does this whole thing called 1 × 1 = 2. It's his concept that, like, of not understanding normal math alone. It's so in him looking down at everybody else, like, how can you guys not see that? But if you, it's a narcissistic answer of him being like, look at these fools. The reason nobody listens to this is because it'll rewrite all of mathematics. No, no one listens to it because you're a fool. And you have to actually look at his paper that he wrote. It's not just a question that he's asking. He wrote a whole paper. He put a whole thing. Like, he's such a, it's like he's a character of the Matrix, like the Cat Williams to, or a Kanye West. It's like to blur the lines before people get to the real place, in my opinion.
Here's the thing that I have with the 1 × 0 = 0 thing.
No, it's 1 × 1 = 2.
No, and also the 1 × 0 also. Like, I there's a whole clip that I
well, 1
reposted
×
on
0
TikTok.
always equals 0.
0. Well, that's the whole thing. Me as a kid, I even asked this question, like, how do you have 1 times 1 of something times 0? How can that be 0 when you still have the value of 1 there?
It's not a value of 1. It's a multiplication
but it is a value
of 1. No, that's just like the smallest understanding.
I
Abby's
I know
it like
that.
a teacher to a kindergartner. Tell it, Abby.
I
I
know
thought
it.
you were
in-
gonna
I
say
know
it.
it
Even the
in
1
like
times
the
1 is
group
like
sense.
1. How many times, you know, one
Can
one
one-
time. So
Yeah.
1 time is just 1. 1 2 times is 2. So, I mean, so
But he was
that's,
talking about the
it doesn't,
value of something
but
in
there's,
the whole
but they're
quantum
not,
level
but the other
of
one's
it.
not a value. But the other
Uh-huh.
one's not a value, is what it is. It's not a value. It's just how many groups of 1 can you do one
But if
time,
it's not a
which
value,
would
how
be
can
1.
it be 1
Because it means like
when
group
it should
of.
be 0?
0 times 0 = 0 because
Yeah.
there's 0 of something. Anything you multiply times 0 is 0 because there's none of
Because
it.
No group, because
No group of 9
times could
exists.
be
No
group
group of
of.
1
It means
exists.
group
No
of.
group
I
of
get
2
the
exists.
group of, but he is making
That's
the
what
point
times
when
mean.
you
But
have
he-
the
But
value of
he's
a
making
one.
the point in addition. This is what his brain's not understanding.
I even put that into consideration because he's thinking of it as like 1 plus 1, and that's not the argument. He's talking about like the value of the one being there, and if a 1 is a 1, if there's nothing, there's nothing. There's a 0. But when you still have that 1, and then 1, you make it something in this reality. When you put a 1 there, you're creating a thing. That's what it is. Like you're creating a thing. So when you're multiplying it times the 0, you still have that thing there. It can't really be 0. You still have that one thing still there. So I get his argument on that. And I also understand the way that we were taught. So like when I was a kid, I even asked this question because many people ask this question. It's not like we don't understand the difference between multiplying and adding, but it's still the value of it existing is in a quantum level. When you're thinking about it and you're trying to multiply, you still have that value there.
But
If
in
that makes
reality,
sense.
what it was just
Mhm.
trying to tell a simple kid's brain is no matter what, no matter how big it gets, if you have 0 of that grouping, it's 0. That's really all it is.
It's just
You're
nothing of
putting
that
the
group.
value
Yeah.
after the 0 when really
Yeah, but
the
you have
0.
1, and then you have the
No,
2,
no.
and then you have the 4 times 0, and the 6 times 0.
Listen. Let's say 1 was an apple, and 2 was an orange, and 3 was, you can put a physical thing on it.
Yeah.
If you have 0 oranges, you have 0. If you have 0 apples, you have 0. If you have 0 bananas, you have 0. It doesn't matter that we said the word banana, orange, or
Yeah.
anything. So just because you happen to put 1 on an apple, 2 on a banana, 3 on an orange, we have 0 apples, 0 bananas, 0 oranges. He's not getting the simple concept of 0 is always 0 in multiplication. That's
Nothing is
it.
always
And so
nothing.
he's trying
Yeah.
to add all these other numbers, but the number is just a physical placeholder of a thing. So 0 is the thing in the multiplication. It's so different than addition. Addition, once you have the value of something and you add it to, it's always there. It doesn't matter how small the fragment is. Once you put it in the room, it's there. But multiplication is a whole different thing. You can't, like, that's where like the whole idea of, like, but it's just, if you read his paper, I think you'll realize that it doesn't make sense because he writes it all out, and you're like,
I just understand numbers as values of a thing, whether it's representing an object or not. The number itself is, if it's
it is a
like
value, and a
yes,
0 is a
that's
0.
the whole thing. I know the whole multiplication and what it means, but when you have the value there, that's where it's like, where does that value of that number go? Like it's still there. It exists because you put it there. It's like a 6 times 0 groups. I get that whole part, but still a value. How does it just disappear? Like how does it just
There
become
never
null
is
and
a
void?
value there with the 0 in a multiplication. There never was.
Yeah.
Ever was.
So why does that equation even have to exist if that
Because
is
they're
just
trying
it?
to tell a caveman how multiplication works different than addition. So then they're like, hey, and here's how 1 works in multiplication, and here's how 2 works in multiplication, and here's how that's different than addition. And so they're trying to show the caveman, so they always start with 0. That's why it's like, then we get to multiplication, and you can take your little digits, and you're like, look
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can pull down this one, and that's the answer. But they always have to just be like, look this is multiplication. And our little kid brain, because all we did was learn addition and subtraction at first, we're like, boom, multiply. And they're kind of showing you that there's no real room for 0 in multiplication. That's
Yeah.
what they're kind of showing you in the example. It doesn't really
Because
happen
it means
here.
group of. Yeah. What's funny is that tonight my daughter had her friend over, and my son said something about math. So she's 20-year-old talking to my 9-year-old, and she's like, well, math is totally subjective. And so like as conversation is going on, I'm like playing that in my head, and I was like, I'm not arguing with stupidity right now. Just not. I just can't.
I know.
Like,
It's so much. But I do think we're in a place that it's like the headline feels good, and the like researching further back, like if let's say we're all gonna 1 times 1 equals or whatever his thing is, 1 times 0 equals 1, whatever his thing is that he's saying, people, if they actually researched it, then came back, but that everybody is just like, he said this thing about frequency and the periodic table, and that feels good, so everything else he said must have weight and value, and I should go get Joe Rogan's organic or oregano tincture because look how young Terrence Howard looks.
Look at the skin.
Look at, and I should get Alpha Brain because I mean, gosh, these old guys are
I'm
keeping
such
all
an
these
alpha.
facts together. But I don't know. I think it's so funny. And I also love just the philosophy question of it, but it would have to be a philosophy question and broached like that in a way. But I even liked Joe Rogan in the interview of so much of it. I felt like he couldn't even get a grasp of what to have Jamie pull up
Yeah, I
because
feel like he didn't know what he was talking about. And he was like, oh, yeah.
he didn't know what to
Oh.
do. And these like he's like, oh, pull up the patent that I have. Pull up the thing that I so what? Any Nimrod can trademark and patent things. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
What was his patent on? Like VR glasses, like back in the day, like before. But there was VR glasses before he even made a patent for VR glasses. Like there was already,
Yes,
it already
even
existed.
for like it almost feels like the first patent for VR came around in like the 40s. Like
Yeah.
it was so far ago. Like
Yeah.
and he's a Disney guy, just like Joe Rogan. He is a Disney guy. He is in all the same movies. He's in all the same things, all the same contracts. And so I even wonder when these certain actors, I don't know when their contract ends. How do I know that Joe Rogan isn't playing some version of himself from News Radio and Terrence Howard isn't playing some version of himself from Empire, and they're under no legality of any of this stuff selling me wrong because they're both just acting these parts on a TV show I'm taking part in.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like with all these fools. Like actors just acting. And I do feel like it's every when Joe Rogan did the thing, he has Tim Pool on back when they talk about the censorship of Twitter, because everybody, this is the build up to why we have the everything app coming. This is how Elon saves us, is because Tim Pool is going on Joe Rogan talking about Twitter censorship, even though everybody was shadow banned, everybody else is losing accounts, but Tim Pool's the conspiracy theorist you're allowed to have. So he goes on Joe Rogan and he's like, Jack Dorsey, Jack Dorsey, Jack Dorsey, XX, or Twitter. Jack Dorsey comes on to speak his piece, da 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 da. And then a little bit of research, we find out Jack Dorsey was paying Joe Rogan in this interview. You think you're going to get a fair interview from Rogan? And so then all of the lockdowns and everything happened. We don't hear anyone say anything about any other way except anything wacky. But this guy and his PCR tests, every guest normalizing that shit. So I'm just like, I could just go on and on. Rogan is right there with Tom Hanks with me. He's as dangerous as Howard Stern because everybody, it's like, I just found my own poison. This isn't poison because I found it in the woods. It can't be poison. They don't know about this poison. I found it myself. And it's like, no, they designed that poison for you. They knew you were going to find it in the woods.
That's how I've been feeling lately with every single fucking figure that I see on TV, on social media, like all these like major, it's just like y'all are all fucking non-important. Really, y'all are non-important. And I think that's what everyone's trying to reach now. They're trying to reach this place of status that I'm important, and we're losing track of like what's really important. Like fucking life is important. Everything that we need to like create a heaven on earth here is important, and we're backtracking and going backwards and dividing and like putting these people on pedestals, idol worship. It's like fucking insane. All I see is insanity everywhere, and that's why like I've been unplugging. It's like I think it's affecting my gut. I'm like, maybe that's it.
Do you think TikTok legitimately could be worse? like the speed and the amount of information that everybody's taking in all the time about everything. Like maybe in a way it's not your friends and family of Facebook anymore. It's not some like rave thing of, MySpace. It's not just the Instagram photos that have now become the reels because of TikTok. It's like, and it's not just words of Twitter.
Well,
It's
it's
like
everywhere. It's everywhere. Like one thing happens, like what happened? Prince Charles, his fucking pictures on every fucking post. Everybody's talking about it like this fucking trend every day. It's like everyone's sharing the same motherfucking information. It's just like, yo, like what are we doing? Like what the fuck are we doing? Like is this any of this like really gonna change anything? Like sharing these people's Prince Charles fucking face. Oh, he's painted. Good for him. Like, why do I give a fuck to even investigate his painting? Why give him the energy? Like, for what? Who the fuck is he? This is how we give him the power.
I just
Every
watched
day,
this
it's
reel.
somebody new, a new character.
I just watched this reel where this girl is talking about how she's like encouraging everybody to block like all the celebrities. She's
Yeah.
like, just do it. Just go on and block them. Like, don't only not follow them, block them. Like Kim Kardashian and all of them. And she's like,
yeah,
it was kind of wild. Like it looks like it's changing some shit.
The
Like they're
following.
losing hella followers. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a power in the following. It's like a messiah complex. Like they feel like their messiah is untouchable. Like that's all it is. We're feeding them this energy we're not aware of, and
but
it's
don't
like,
you think
ugh.
like in the TikTok culture, like everything's become an edited video, and it's become like a quicker, like TikTok has changed the form of every other social media, and even
Yeah.
like how the information comes
algorithm.
to us, like how we're getting it in these like bite-sized, like chunk, fast-paced music behind it. Like it's almost like all the MK Ultra things, but we're hoping we're doing it to each other, but we have no idea how many of them are future Joe Rogans of TikTok that are in our algorithm selling us these weird things or dream hacking us. And so it's this way of like, I feel like TikTok is almost off, where people are like, I'm not taking as much news. I'm not taking in as much like World War II stuff. I'm just watching my TikTok. And maybe it's just like your TikTok, Instagram's puppies and tarot. Like maybe it's something that makes you feel really light. But if we're like all this dream hacking stuff and other flashings and things we're talking about, if you're taking in something that, let's say the music all feels good, but the background of it, like what else are they capable of doing to us that we're on the like talking like, they should ban nothing that's our free speech. Da, 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 da. But what about if the real wanting to ban TikTok has nothing to do with the TikTok, but actually some kind of something it's pushing out to us, a frequency that's making us sick?
Probably.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, what if it's not the propaganda it's spreading at all? It's something different. Like, how could I put a frequency on an app that is that you download on your own and put it in all your hands that somehow radiates all the time in your life to make you kind of sick once you have it?
A thing with crystals and
Like
gold and
the
all types of
808.
like matter in it, and it's vibrating and shaking and humming, and you can barely hear it, but it is humming and shaking and doing its thing in its case. Like, yeah, I believe that this is a magic piece of device.
Like
It
the
has a
808
lot of
frequency,
control.
right? Like that was a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and
What's
all
that?
the
Say the 808 frequency.
Like supposedly they put it on a lot of musical tracks and stuff, and like, and you'll even hear some rappers talk about the 808, and they're not talking about like an area code. They're talking about the 808 frequency.
I just had to stop and tell you guys, just because it's like we're all here. Like if we were all hanging out in a room, you guys, and you were watching me, I've pulled out a rolling paper a few times, but in conversation, I put it down and it blows away, and I'm like, and instead of getting it, I keep just grabbing a new roll.
new
It's
one.
like the most amount of lazy, and you guys are witnessing it at the 2-hour and 20-minute mark as Abby's about to tell us about the 808. Who's Gabby? If I accidentally did that around Jules, she would say in a high-pitched voice, "Who's Gabby?" Like if you're like, "Surely you don't mean it." She's like, "Who's Shirley?" Okay,
Who's
808.
Gabby
Sorry,
and
Abby.
Shirley?
Yeah. Who's Gabby?
The 808 frequency is a frequency range used in the music production and sound engineering. It's low-end frequency range that is used to create a deep and powerful sound. It's often used in hip-hop and EDM music. It was first used in the early 1980s by the Roland TR 808 drum machine. Anyway, it's like supposedly it's like a
808
low.
bump, make
It
you
is a
get
low
your
frequency,
hands
but
up, make you put
Yeah.
your hands up.
And also, like the whole idea of like them using the sigils and the Solomon seals throughout, the technology in the phones. It could be like your genie in a bottle kind of thing. Your wish is my command. How can I blah 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 do this and da da da? Answer. Boom. Your wish is my command. It's almost like having a genie in your hand.
I
You want to
wonder,
call somebody, you can. You want to see somebody, you can.
what if the jinn collect us like cryptocurrency,
What if they
like
do?
NFTs.
like Pogs, like we're
oh, look at my
Pokemon.
NFT.
Well, I was
Yeah.
just thinking that.
Like they collect our little souls with like, oh, look at, I got this one with a Ouija board. Oh, well, no worries. I got this one watching Netflix every day. I got this one to
Uh-huh.
stop eating meat. I got this one to start like whatever little thing. Like I got this one to start doubting herself and she calls herself fat in the mirror every day at whatever thing. And then like the demons jump on and they're like, yay, they check off the box. If they get us close to suicide, that's when like they level up.
That's fucking nuts. Imagine.
That's like the Shinigami.
Or imagine demons don't exist. Imagine none of that shit exists. None of it.
This is what I kind of think, though, for real. In life, if energy is never destroyed, it can't be created or destroyed, then look at all of us here and all this energy that we are. Like maybe you're a storm, maybe you're a fish, maybe you're sand, maybe you're whatever, but there seems to be a lot of energy. If we did the right ritual, spell, Corallian shit, could we create an egregore that lives past us that then keeps gathering energy in this
Yeah.
AI kind of way?
Yeah. Yeah, if you put it that way, like whole Barbie land. I'm telling you, that's their way of telling us, like by going with their stories, I guess, that they want us to, believe in. And I bring this up because it's like, if these books are true, do you think they would allow billions of people to follow them or like have them? I don't think so. So it's like they want a truth to be happening. So they create it for their own souls, I'm guessing. They're creating that realm for their own souls. The heaven for them when
Oh
they
my
leave.
gosh, Layla, you really just hit on something. What
Yeah.
if the whole reason they need us to believe in the Matrix and they need to create this real heaven out here and slowly turn it into hell is so that we'll download our souls into the Matrix so they get some experience of heaven because they've cut themselves off from source?
Probably.
I feel like you just hit on the real thing.
Or maybe they know that like manifestation is a real thing, and in order to like really create a fucking heaven is by like creating this idea that it exists, and the more people that believe it and that it exists, that's what the never ending story is about. The imagination and creating that realm, and when you cut that imagination off, it dies.
That's okay. So that's kind of on the Reality Transurfing podcast the other day. We got into it was like the dreams
Where
of
would
the
I
gods
find
was the
that?
chapter. On YouTube at Blue Collar Mystics. But basically it essentially says that God, like you're creating in God's image, right? That doesn't mean that in the flesh, like your God looks like this. It literally just means that, God is the creator, right? You were born, your one mission on this freaking earth in this lifetime is to create. That is you honoring God. Like you're not here to worship God. You're not here to freaking do any of that. You worship God by being the creator.
Mm.
That is what
So
you're here to do.
yeah, and like that movie with Robin Williams, like you can create your own version of a heaven where he dies.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know if you guys seen it, it's such a great movie, but like he dies, he goes to heaven, and he goes to his version of heaven. And everyone has their own place in heaven, like their own version, and you create it.
My Maria
And that's
tells me
what I
about this
mean.
movie
You
all the
have this
time.
awesome
good.
Earth
What is
here
this
to
movie?
freaking
No,
do
I've
it.
seen it before because his
What
wife's in
dreams
hell.
may
He has to
come.
go. Yeah, what dreams
Yeah.
may come because he has to
Yeah.
go to hell to get her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she created her own hell, and she was in her own hell, and in her
And
own
that's
house. And
everybody does it here. They create
Yeah.
their own hell on Earth when you could literally have any life you choose.
Hmm. Interesting. What if that's the key? Like literally, and having that imagination that when you leave here, you're leaving to the most amazing fucking place ever imaginable.
Well, and you're going back to source, but
Yeah.
as source, you always want to come back. Like that's why really the idea of reincarnation only makes sense, because you go back and you're one with source, you remember what you are, but you had this freaking awesome experience where you forgot and you got to freaking be totally immersed in the play of it all, in the freaking you forgot
That's
who
so
you were and you
beautiful
got
in a
to
way.
Jesus
rediscover
was
and you got
just
to
the
create.
first time God came down in flesh.
Or
That's so
maybe God
beautiful
has
when you
And
come
then
down
think
he
in
got
about it.
flesh
so
every time. He was the
and
first
then
one
he
to
got so
remember.
addicted. Yeah, he was the first one to remember. He was
We're
down in
forgetting
flesh,
Mary.
and he was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so amazing." And some part of like it comes down and he's like, because it says he's sinless, but we decide what's sin now. And I just feel like if there's a New Testament, the Old Testament kind of becomes null and void a little bit if you're God and you're like, I have this all wrong. I have to come down in flesh. Then all that beforehand, you got to take with a grain of salt because he already rainbowed you once. First time he admitted he was wrong was the rainbow. Second time comes down in flesh and he's like, oh
Yeah,
shit.
but what about Mary? And then Mary's mother, Anna, and then Anna's mother, like that whole bloodline. What if it's the mother? Like we keep forgetting, like the mother is the womb that carries these souls. What if it's the mother, Mary, Anna, all the ones that are able to carry that vessel?
I don't know.
I just think though that we're all the vessel. Like that's the thing is
That's
that
the whole thing.
you were given the spark of God. So God exists in every
All of
living
us, yeah.
thing
The
on this planet.
Holy Spirit.
So every one of you is God. And that's the thing is that we forget that and we
Don't you
don't honor
point
it
at
in
me with that
ourselves
calloused
and we don't
finger.
honor it in other people. Oh, my
I'm
fingers
just
aren't calloused. It's
kidding.
just my
I'm just
palms.
Wow.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
The
we-
Holy Spirit.
Yeah, the Britney spirit.
It's
Holy
in
shit.
every single person. And that's the thing is that we look to
Okay,
God out
now
there as
let's
somebody
change
looking at
it.
us instead of looking at it's here.
Is
God is here.
holy always holly? And holly is always holly because it can carry currency. There's water in holly. It's evergreen. It's the hand that it's the thing Nimrod's holding, deer in one hand, holly in the other. So it's never
on
the
my
Holy Spirit. That would
family
put holes
crest,
in you.
too.
You would have holes in your
Well, a
spirit.
spear, like a spear.
A holly
like
spear.
Holy
a
Spirit.
spirit,
Yeah.
like a holy, and it makes a
Well,
whole
oh my
holly.
gosh. Then look at
Hollywood.
holly, doesn't it have spears on it? Isn't it like thorny?
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
think
The leaves
so,
are
yeah.
very, very thorny. The leaves are like they actually will poke the shit out of you. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So holly spear is really you're just saying holly spirit, which oh my gosh. If you were to holly spear something, you'd put a crown of thorns on it.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if that crown of thorns was the holly.
Abby, what was the crown of thorns?
I
don't know.
freaking should know this. That's the obscure shit that I usually do know. And I know it somewhere, but
Because holly feels like somewhere with the Holy Spirit this is one of my buddies always tries to say the Catholic Church that we know it now is really what the Protestants and pagans made the Catholic Church. That none of the symbology, none of the ritual, none of the anything, like everything we hate and everything we know about that group of people is really just the Protestants and pagans and what they made it to be, because the true Catholics would never bend a knee. So they had to like steal all the truth, bury all the books, do all this stuff. So there is some true arm of whatever the Catholic religion is that has no representation in that crown or church in anything that we know now. And some people say that's like Templar shit. and that's what they were really running and stuff like that. But it would be so interesting, the Holly spirit that is so more Norse Holly than it would ever be Christian.
Yeah, and they use a spear to spear Jesus.
I feel like
Like,
it always goes
Oh my
back to
gosh,
freaking Norse
Holly,
mythology.
crown, and a spear.
Yeah.
Holly Spirit.
Yeah.
Spirit.
So the spear of destiny and the crown of thorns would be two of the things that represent the Holy Spirit, that they say Christ died for your sins and he gave you his holy crown and he was speared, spirit.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
It is interesting. And
Language
I
is
also
so
think,
weird.
yeah, like even Jay put Xmas Ghost. I always think back because is it the St. Andrew's cross or St. Christopher's cross that's the X? There's another saint, and they were when instead of just having everybody hung on that like Jesus cross, they put everybody on X's. And so there's something that with the X of it all and the everything app and the Xmas that I'm like, what is this X? And you see these certain celebrities that they look like they have a cross on their neck, but they have an X. And so I just think we see this X symbology come on strong.
Everywhere.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think there was one of the guys in the Bible, and he was like slain similar to Jesus, but he was on an X for a cross. And so I'm like, anyway,
I don't know.
St. Peter was crucified upside down.
Gen X.
huh?
Like
That's so
X.
Odin, right? Crucified upside down. I wonder if they took one of his eyes.
And Peter was the rock, that supposedly was like the first pope or whatever of the Catholic Church.
I was talking to, it was interesting philosophizing with a Christian this week and how much like Peter, like when I hear his name and the visceral ick that Peter gives me and how much they like Peter. It's like, to me, Peter is what, becomes the church and everything wrong with Christianity, almost where you have to have it in a book in a building. And everything that isn't Peter becomes the faith. I don't know. Peta.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Peta.
Pizza. Pecca. Pita.
All
Peter
right.
Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers.
Tongue twisters.
Mm-hmm.
Created by lesbians, just like women going to the bathroom in pairs. I know. That's always my favorite. Is I'm like, well, lesbians created that. Anytime where I'm at a table with men and like someone's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and somebody else is like, I'll come with, and girls leave, and I'm always sitting there with the guys, and they're like, why do women always do that? And I'm like, well, lesbians created it, but straight women don't know. Like it's like the time we get to get away.
Yeah.
We get a little getaway. You guys have know what's happening in that wonderland. And I also feel like it was awesome to be a woman probably in like the 80s where you could sneak away to the bathroom and share your Coke without looking like a bunch of fagalicious. Hey girl, you want to come to the bathroom with me? Sure
Stall.
thing.
You want to come in the stall?
Yeah, we could share stalls. It's so funny. It still to this day, all women know it too. I don't know how much men have to deal with it, but still to this day, there's like one night a month that you're going out and you're in a bathroom and you can hear a woman calamity of two women inside one stall, and they are either like, come on girl, like one of the girls is sad and the other one's trying to work her up, one of them's sick and the other one's trying to work her up. They're both collectively drunk and trying to do something normal, like use the bathroom in a small space at one time, and it's just taking
Shuffle.
yeah, it's just like if you get the luxury of overhearing two girls in stall ever, like everybody thinks two girls one cup is the thing, but no, it's two girls
Two
one
girls,
stall,
one stall.
and it's all auditory, and that could be a
And it's
TV
normal.
show. I would tune into that TV show, and on This Week on Two Girls One Stall, and I
That's actually a really good TV show.
And when they came out, I'd interview them.
That would be great, actually.
Oh my god,
Go-
we should go. So we should just go out. and
Just
about
do
to,
it
like,
one night
Orlando
and
clubs.
go to a club and just
You
like
hold
stand by the
boom mic.
bathroom. Yeah.
Hi,
So
you
what were you
guys.
guys doing in there? Like,
is Two
oh,
Girls,
okay.
One
So what do two normal girls do in the bathroom? What are you guys
Oh my
doing in
God,
there?
I'm so drunk right now, and this boom mic just comes in the stall. They're like, what is that?
The fuck? Why is there a microphone in
Oh
the
my
stall?
god, what is that?
Don't snort too hard. They'll hear you.
Why is there a microphone in here? It's probably my ex-boyfriend. He's so
Oh my
jealous.
God.
Fucking psycho. He's so jealous. He
Fucking
probably has put
pervert.
in fucking here's it out there, pervert. And then before this is the other funny thing about drunk girls. This is my favorite funny thing. 100% of the time with drunk girls, 100% of the time. And sometimes I'll just tell my friends, oh, drunk girls. And then they'll come up and I'm like, watch, I'm going to get them to be so mad. And before they leave, they're going to hug us all and be like, oh my God, I
I
love you.
love you.
Abby, I love you.
This happened to me. Oh my god, the other night. I was with my sister. She wanted to go bowling with a bunch of coworkers. I think it was like Thursday night. So anyway, we get to our car, right? And there's a bunch of people by our car, and one girl was like, "Oh my god, we got to get out of the way." I was like, "No, you guys are good." And the others were like, "What the fuck? You don't got to move." And I'm like, okay, so I pull out my bag of weed. She's like, "Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this for my birthday. We got to do something fun." I was like, "Oh, it's your birthday." I was like, "You're so sweet. Here's a nug." So I gave her a nug, and they're like, "Ha, you see what you get for being nice?" I was like, "Exactly. Do you see what you get for being nice? Happy birthday." But yeah, it's like, what the fuck? Like situations like that when people are drunk, they could just be really snotty or either really nice. But one person, and all it takes one person, and then all of them change their mood after I gave them their nug. They're like, "Oh shit, we didn't know white girl was this nice." I'm like, yeah, what the fuck? White people aren't bad. And like, what the hell? We ain't racist, you know? There might be some out there, but we ain't all like that.
On my cruise in the smoking section,
Mhm.
a lot there's like certain times where it's probably like 80% black people.
Mhm.
And because I always go where I need to go. And so when I was sitting there with my pen and they were all smoking cigars and cigarettes, and I was like, and they were like, set. And I was like, you know what it is. And they were like, "You
Oh
got that on
shit.
this boat?" And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I thought about it too. I was like, I bet you I could sell each one of these cars for $100 on this. I was like,
You
starting
probably
to think
could.
about more money, more money. Like all of a sudden, I'm an international drug dealer.
Maritime law. Maybe
I
there's
know.
you're fine.
Yeah,
You
it's
could
just
have
so
though.
funny. But it was like there was just a certain time of the day that I needed to get my energy right because honestly, I love cruising, but cruising is some white people fucking entertainment. It's some white people food. It's some white people shit. Like everything about it, you almost have to lean into this extra corny of yourself. Like this corny that we're not even as an American culture anymore, but that voice that like you would see a black comedian do to mock white people, like, "Hi, I'm this person and I like to sit on a carousel and eat a 3-course meal with my family and dress up in theme." That is how corny white cruises are. But the black people on cruises lean into we're going to a stage show. We're all going to go to a stage show at 10 o'clock. We're going to all be wasted at a stage show at 10 o'clock. Like you all lean into this corniness. Like we're all going to be by the pool for 8 hours tomorrow with drinks in our hand. Neither needing sun or to be drunk just because we can. And we're all just like waiting by each other like a bunch of adults with drinks. But everybody that needs a break from that corny whiteness found this little section. And it was just so nice to just be like, ah. And we could talk about the cheesiness of it or the people in the matching. And then we'd be like, oh man, this is some cheesy, corny shit. And then be like, what are you wearing tonight to dinner though? And I'd be like, oh, I'm matching my girl. We got matching school outfits for this. We got matching outfits for every day. We have matching bathing suits. Because you got to lean into the full corny. Like you got to be the couple. Like we match every day.
Yeah, like a group of girls that
When
I
we do
saw that
Secret
all wore.
Society of Good Guys cruise, can we match?
We have to. It's like if we were a family, like if I had 3 children and we were gonna go on a cruise, I would be that corny family with my kids that we'd all have
And
shirts on that said
neon
like
yellow.
the Nashes. Like when for my mom, for her we went on a birthday cruise, we all had like tropical shirts made with Miss Patty's face on them. And
Oh,
then
that's cute.
yeah, and then all the girls had like sexy because my mom's like sex, and they had a picture of her that said sexy and 70. Because my mom likes to still put it on. She's a Leo. She likes to she still got it, Eddie. And so then this cruise that we went on, she did it around Mother's Day. But something I'm realizing about her tricks. So she purchases these crews for us for our like year. It's our birthday Christmas present. She just gets us and our spouses these vacations like every year. But what I'm noticing is it's like becoming sooner and sooner that I'm like, dog lady, the cruises are getting longer and it's getting sooner, and it's not a year apart now, and then it's not 10 months apart, and then it's not 7 months apart, and now I'm like, dang, I can't spend 8 days on a boat every 4 months just because you're retired. Everyone's like, hey, free cruise, and I'm like, yeah, but it ain't cheap to just lay around all day,
No.
gamble, and drink.
Uh,
But it is fun. I can't wait till we Secret Society of Good Guy Cruise. I feel like that's going to be like 2025.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Miss Patty's going to get a good deal for
I can't wait
everyone.
till 2025.
I feel like we'll be able to Secret Society of Good Guy Cruise for like a 3-night, 4-day cruise for real. And I feel like we'll be able to get it for everyone for like $250 a person. Like I've really been thinking about even if a small amount of people go. And I
Yeah.
think we'll be able to get a little area to do like a meetup and like a couple of podcasts and, then just hang out the rest of the time. I think
Hell
the
yeah.
cruise would be cheaper than any other meetup, honestly. It's just the flight to Florida.
Could you podcast from the boat?
I don't know if we could podcast live, but there is enough things I've seen, like they're getting better and better at that. And I was even looking into like, I might just get Starlink. Because I was wondering if all the people with Starlink had internet the whole time, because I could pay a different package to get internet with AT&T, or I could get an internet on the boat that they provided. But the internet on the boat always sucks. I'm like, you
Sucks,
guys gotta
yeah.
It
work on
probably
this.
sucks. Like hotel internet.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it could be good. This is my emoji. Look at that's me at IRL right now.
I can't see it down it.
When
I'll
you
check
see
it out
on
later.
screen later. Yeah,
Mhm.
somebody will timestamp it. Somebody wonderful will timestamp it. All right, you guys, we love you so much. Thanks for hanging out with us for
Thanks for
our powwow.
hanging.
We
Love
hope
you
there was
guys.
a tiny little bit of magic and conspiracy in there for you that time, and it wasn't all queefs and period blood.
Yeah.
We'll save that for next week.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
next week. But we'll be back Friday this week for the Secret Society Good Guys Everywhere, and Jay Dreamers will be joining us, and that'll be dreamy. We'll have to
Yay.
figure out some fun topic that he can come and educate us all about and powwow. Okay. Powwow.
Good
That's
night.
how we give proper homage to the Cherokee Nation. That's like powwowing. All right. Love you
Love you guys.
so much. Let me find that girl. Okay, here she is.
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
What we used to think we knew is constantly exploring through our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, mega mistakes, entertaining, calling linguists. Good guys. Forum of decorum needs a secretive society to advance on philosophies intentionally, magically good guys, good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, mischief making, it's okay to change your thinking. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
Bunnies. Hi. Okay, of course she's starving for the most attention because she's the youngest. give me attention, please. Now, Sarah, you're very stuck up. And you're too cool for school, I get it. Jesus Christ, be nice. Girls, be nice. No fighting. Be nice. Hi. Are you gonna
Mommy, I got my pasty. Please run to me and let me see. Oh, she's a bunny, y'all. She's a bunny this morning. Come here, bunny girl.